much of the state Tuesday evening, he says. Fire engulfed the press box of the football stadium at Frankfort High School last night. Firefighters got to the stadium around 9 o'clock to find the press box with flames and smoke shooting out of it. They got the fire put out rather quickly. No one was in the press box at the time of the fire. They aren't sure how it started. Always check the candy. In Middletown, just south of Muncie last night, parents found a pill containing meth in their child's candy bag after trick-or-treating Tuesday night. A 14-year-old boy has been arrested in a fatal shooting in Fort Wayne. Harrison Silcox reports.
A 17-year-old was shot Sunday in a neighborhood on the south side of Fort Wayne. They were ID'd as Mario Devon. A 14-year-old boy who was arrested in that shooting Monday morning. Investigators have not said what led to the conflict, but all witnesses and potential suspects have been cooperating. Indiana law allows prosecutors to charge juveniles as adults if the probable cause involves homicides. Harrison Silcox, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
A man shot to death Tuesday on Guyan Road while firefighters were busy with a fire.
The cause and manner of death will be determined by the Marion County Coroner's Office, and the cause of the fire is still under investigation.
IMPD officer Simone Burris, no word on any suspects. Men's college basketball is beginning to ramp up around Indiana. More exhibition matchups this evening as teams get dialed in for the regular season. The number 3 ranked Purdue Boilermakers take on Grace College this evening at Mackey Arena. The Butler Bulldogs will square off with Franklin College at Hinkle Fieldhouse. Traffic on the 5s. Good morning, Matt Bear.
Good morning, Kurt. Looking at westbound as 70 crashed before Little Point Road. Right lane is blocked with a semi crash. It was leaning into the trees. It is in the trees no longer. Traffic stop and go back to Hazelwood. Crash east side, 25th at Mithofer Road. Crash south side, Banta Road, west of State Road 37. That's a car into a fence post. And a crash 29th west of MLK at Raider. Traffic sponsored by Lowe's. Shop Black Friday every day and get the best new deals all month long. Only at Lowe's, because Lowe's knows deals. I'm Matt Bear with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes in retirement? Hey, Casey Weed of Howard Bailey Financial, where our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we want to give you our Retire with Purpose Toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you can't outlive. Plus, you'll receive a copy of my book, Job Optional. To get your complimentary toolkit, call or text the keyword INFO 42 to 866-482-9559. That's INFO 42 to 866-482-9559.
Howard Bailey Financial is the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
The forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
Mostly sunny, quiet, but chilly heading into your afternoon hours. Today's high 45, partly cloudy, quiet, and cold overnight, a low around 30. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey for 93 WIBC.
Mostly cloudy, 29 degrees on Monument Circle. I'm Kurt Darling on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, November 1st, 6 minutes after 9. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. But wait a minute. You're not Rob Kendall.
I'm not.
No, that is Brad Klopfenstein filling in today. Thank you for coming in.
Thanks, Casey. Great to see you.
Yeah, you too. So I don't know if you saw this yesterday, but there was a big thing going on, and Christopher Wray, he was warning that the threat of terror attacks against Americans has raised to, quote, a whole other level. This, of course, due to the ongoing conflict in the Middle East, and boy, does that make me feel good.
Yeah, I'm not surprised just because we are Israel's largest ally, and anybody who doesn't like Israel, which is like half the world, given that Israel is just fine at protecting themselves, then they lash out at Israel's biggest supporters, i.e. us.
Yeah, everybody else. Israel, of course, the only Western type country in that region. Such a shame, too, because Saudi Arabia was about to be on good terms with them, and then Hamas had to step in. But do you trust Christopher Wray when he says this? I mean, I believe we are at a whole other level, but do you trust him?
I guess we have to, Casey. What is our alternative? Say we're not going to trust our institutions and the people charged with running those institutions?
Yes, that is the other alternative.
It is the other alternative. I reluctantly will listen to him because he knows more about it than I do. Obviously, you and I and our listeners follow this closely, but he has access to information that we do not. And if he says that our threat level is at a whole other level, I will tend to believe him.
Okay, well, perhaps instead of pouring the Bureau's personnel and financial resources to prosecuting Biden's political opponents, maybe they should have cared more about security of this country and we wouldn't be at this level.
I am still fascinated by the failure to recognize that Hamas was working on this. I mean, obviously, Israel is mostly responsible for that failure, and I think Netanyahu will end up paying the price for it. But surely America, somebody in Europe, knew something was going on. Literally, they're a quarter mile apart. How do you not know that they're planning an attack like this? I'm curious to know, what was Hamas's exit strategy on this? So they just say, we're going to go in there, we're going to kill a bunch of people, we're going to behead a bunch of children, and nobody's going to do anything about it. What was their end game?
Okay, well, Ray warned that the most immediate concern is that individuals or small groups are going to draw inspiration from these events and use that to attack Americans, including homegrown violent extremists who are inspired by them. So there's the violent extremists and there's domestic terrorists. Is there a difference? We're going to try and get an answer to that. But first, here is the FBI director warning that the terror threat to Americans is at a whole other level.
We assess that the actions of Hamas and its allies will serve as an inspiration, the likes of which we haven't seen since ISIS launched its so-called caliphate several years ago. In just the past few weeks, multiple foreign terrorist organizations have called for attacks against Americans and the West. Al-Qaeda issued its most specific call to attack the United States in the last 5 years. ISIS urged its followers to target Jewish communities in the United States and Europe. Hezbollah has publicly expressed its support for Hamas and threatened to attack U.S. interests in the Middle East. And we've seen an increase in attacks on U.S. military bases overseas carried out by militia groups backed by Iran.
Okay, so the White House said this week that the Department of Justice and Homeland Security have seen an alarming rise in anti-Semitic incidents and threats against Jewish communities. A DHS spokesperson said this week that the U.S. remains in a heightened threat environment. However, just last week, they said they hadn't seen any credible evidence. So within a week, they've completely changed their message. And Peter Doocy was asking John Kirby, who is the White House spokesperson, if people making these anti-Semitic threats are terrorists, and this was his answer.
People in this country making violent anti-Semitic threats, are they domestic terrorists?
I don't know that we're classifying people as domestic terrorists for that. I mean, that's really a question better left to law enforcement. I'm not aware that there's been such a characterization of that.
Okay, so he's not aware. How are we classifying people then?
Jerks and not jerks. I guess it depends on. It's one thing to have anti-Semitic views. I have a very good friend, and suddenly last week his son started spouting off all this stuff, and both me and my buddy were like, where is this coming from? And I mean, his son raised here in central Indiana, just, pretty white bread as far as we were all concerned. I'm like, all right, this is interesting to say it. It's one thing to say it. It's one thing to think it. It's a whole other thing to act on it. And I think that is the delineation. But yes, getting in front of somebody before they act on it is going to be the rub for law enforcement, Homeland Security, the FBI, and to figure out who is truly a threat without than imposing your will on people who just have those views but are not threats.
Well, I think at this point, if somebody says something, you have to believe them.
Oh, you do. If somebody makes a threat, it is credible.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're thinking it, don't say that you want to do anything, because you are going to incur the wrath of the government right now, because people are a little twitchy about that.
Yeah, well, it's weird that they had no problem classifying parents at school board meetings. They had no problem calling MAGA supporters extremists. But John Kirby better check with Christopher Wray, because they don't seem to be on the same page.
Now, they might want to have a Zoom meeting or something.
Yeah, earlier in the day, the FBI director said that violent extremists are a threat. So violent extremists are different than domestic terrorists. Got it.
Here in the United States, our most immediate concern is that violent extremists, individuals or small groups, will draw inspiration from the events in the Middle East to carry out attacks against Americans going about their daily lives.
Did you get it? You understand?
Yes. So if it rises to the level of violence, isn't that by definition pretty extreme, since most people are not by nature violent?
Okay, another thing that happened yesterday is Senator Josh Hawley. He's the guy from Missouri. He was questioning the Homeland Security Director Alejandro Mayorkas about one of his employees who is praising terrorists, but is still employed by the government. And a whistleblower told Josh Hawley that DHS special agents, they're being pulled off investigating child trafficking at the border. And why are they being pulled off? He said, to make sandwiches for illegal immigrants at the southern border.
It's not what the special agent is alleging. That's not what she said. She said that they're being taken off of fentanyl interdiction, off of child exploitation cases, off of their other investigations into criminals to make sandwiches. That's her quote. You're saying that this is a lie, that she's wrong?
Senator, we have a number of law enforcement priorities with the resources.
Is making sandwiches one of them?
We have, of course not, Senator. We accomplish a tremendous amount.
Is she wrong?
Because of the tremendous talent and dedication of our personnel, including Homeland Security
Making
investigations.
sandwiches for illegal immigrants. Is she wrong? This is one of your agents. Is she wrong? She says that there are 600 at least special agents pulled off of other cases, sent down to the border to babysit illegal immigrants. Is she wrong?
Senator, our personnel, we use our personnel to achieve the maximum law enforcement objective possible. That is what we do.
So you're not going to deny it?
And I'm incredibly proud of what our people do
every
single day.
This is news.
I'm wondering what kind of sandwiches they are.
I don't know. I'm envisioning the old lady in the movie Bad Santa.
Are you?
Yeah.
See, I'm thinking like Subway. It's like a counter, you know?
I'll make
you
some sandwiches.
Get to pick your protein, or is it just standard PB&J? Take it.
Yeah.
It seems like a colossal waste of time and money, though.
It does. You take professionals who are
doing.
trained in one area. That's kind of like Matt Himlin coming in here telling you and Kevin, hey, during the breaks, if you guys wouldn't mind cleaning the restrooms and maybe vacuuming in here, that would be great.
NMJ, not my job. But here's the thing. The border should have been closed a long time ago, but especially since October 7th. It's 16 minutes after 9. It is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
We feel
it as soon as you step out the door.
What you feel.
Bundle up. Feels like winter.
It's going to be more like summertime.
All the feels.
It feels a little like winter.
Feels more like summer.
Of fall.
It's kind of the clash of two seasons.
Weather. When you need it.
The ebbs and flows this time of the year is so evident.
On your official fall weather station. 93 WIBC.
So our government has racked up more than $33 trillion in debt. And you know what they're going to do next? They're going to turn right around and make you pay for it by raising your taxes. Hey, it's Hammer and Nigel. Learn how you could reduce your taxes in retirement with a free customized retirement tax savings analysis. It's from Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy. We trust Bill so much, we've become clients.
So if you've saved at least $200,000, schedule your free analysis right now by calling 317-648-5800. 5120. Learn how you could reduce the taxes on your IRA and 401k, Social Security benefits, and other investment income in retirement. Don't let the government get your money. Schedule your free analysis right now by calling 317-648-5120. 648-5120.
Whether it's driving a race car, building a business, or just being mom, you gotta solve problems. I'm former IndyCar driver Sarah Fisher, and when my problem was foot pain, the Good Feet store became my problem solver. Having the Good Feet store on your team is like having a great pit crew, helping to keep the feet and body in alignment and well balanced. Now I drive, walk, run, and live life pain-free. At the Good Feet store, they know that foot pain can impede everyday life. It's a constant battle that can affect you physically and emotionally, putting a strain on everything from small tasks to big adventures. As Indy's premier arch support specialist, the Good Feet store enhances the quality of life for anyone desiring to live life without limits. My Good Feet arch supports help me cruise through my days in comfort. See how they work for you with a free, personalized fitting at either one of our 2 Indianapolis locations, or make an appointment at goodfeet.com.
Hey, you're up next. My throat hurts so bad. There's no way I can sing tonight.
Here, try these.
Vicks VapoCool Drops.
Yeah, Vicks VapoCool Drops has maximum strength menthol with a rush of Vicks Vapors.
Ooh, I can already feel it.
I told you. So, you ready?
I'm ready.
Vaporize sore throat pain fast with Vicks VapoCool Drops.
Transform your home with America's Floor Source, where style meets savings. Now for a limited time, take advantage of our exclusive 18 months interest-free financing and get your home ready for the holidays. At America's Floor Source, we make it easy to upgrade your space without breaking the bank. Visit us today for 18 months interest-free financing, and our experts will help you discover the perfect flooring solution for your home.
America's Floor Source, from our showroom to your living room.
24/7 ER care for kids. 24/7 peace of mind for you. Riley Children's Health emergency doctors and nurses are in the ER around the clock at IU Health North in Carmel. Learn more at rileychildrens.org/ER.
So I have been in the operating room most of my career, watching people have orthopedic surgery, watching people get knees replaced, hips replaced, shoulders fixed, and I knew there had to be a better way.
That's Dr. Daniel Zuckerman, a medical director for QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in non-invasive regenerative treatments for pain relief.
I see so many people who could have been helped before they got to the operating room if only they had known about regenerative medicine.
QC Kinetics, a natural alternative that uses your body's own healing properties to help restore and repair damaged joint tissue, providing long-lasting relief without drugs, surgery, or downtime.
Well, it feels great when I do get to see somebody who we help, who I know I kept out of the operating room. It's amazing how we change people's lives without surgery.
Call QC Kinetics for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 317-559-PAIN. That's 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show.
Brian, I'm going to be honest with you. That smells like pure gasoline.
They've done studies, 60% of the time, it works every time.
That doesn't make sense.
On 93 WIBC.
I was working in the lab late one night.
Good morning. It is 21 minutes after 9. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Rob is out today, and Brad Kloppenstein is in. Did you have a good Halloween?
I did have a good Halloween. How about yourself, Casey?
Yeah, it was good. Do you have a candy hangover this morning?
No. I had a few pieces of candy corn, and otherwise we sat around and watched TV. I hate to say this, Casey, I'm a little bit of a Halloween Grinch.
Are you?
And this was born out of, I went over to my friend Scott Armstrong's house about 10 years ago and greeted trick-or-treaters with him because he gets a lot of trick-or-treaters. I could not believe how disappointed I was in humanity after that night.
Why? What happened?
The number of kids who were not in costume.
Yeah.
the number of adults that were taking candy and not in costume, the number of kids who would not say trick or treat, or the ones that would just walk up, not in costume, hold out a bag, and then stare at you.
Yeah, just
and then
like
you'd be like,
no, there's there's a process here.
There is. There's a quid pro quo that goes on here. I will give you candy, but you A, have to give some meager attempt at dressing up, and B, you have to say trick or treat.
You're a rule follower.
I am a rule follower.
So what, you didn't pass out any candy last night?
Well, we actually live on the second floor of a condo, so it's hard for kids to get to us.
Yeah.
And so we had a little bit of candy there. But,
just in case.
But yeah, we did not. I think had it been warmer, we might have gone out on the sidewalk level, but it was cold last night. I didn't want to be out there.
I know, and all those kids had to put jackets on over their costumes. That's never any fun. Guess how many trick-or-treaters I had at my place?
6.
0.
What?
Not one. And I, like you, I had candy. I was ready just in case, but I, of course, did the universal symbol of we're not passing out candy, and that was turning the porch light off.
Okay, now my backup I actually had more than the 8 that I was prepared for. We had little individual bags of chips, potato chips left over from the Oktoberfest in Lawrence that I was going to hand out.
So you considered at one point passing out hot dogs and beer for the adults.
I thought that was going to be a great plan, but yeah, as the forecast came in, I'm like, no, I don't know. I do not want to stand outside and wrestle a grill down the stairs and go through all that. So maybe next year I will do the hot dogs. I think it's a great plan. Hot dogs and beer. Adults would love it, but I would want to advertise that ahead of time. But yeah, that is for a year to come.
So one of our big listeners, Drake, he had full-size candy bars. He had hot dogs and beverages for the adults. And he said anybody who came and said, I love WIBC would get the full-size candy bar. So I'm really curious how many of those he passed out.
Now, what is your candy of choice?
Reese's Pieces. Reese's Pieces, yes. I almost said Reese's Pieces.
Reese's Pieces?
Reese's Pieces. Yeah. How about you?
I'm a big fan of Baby Ruths in general. I do like candy corn also.
Yeah. Number
or just
one
Reese's
ingredient
Cups.
in candy corn is honey. So you're eating so healthy when you eat that candy corn.
Yes, exactly. There's a company up in Frankfurt. I'm blanking on their name. They make the best candy corn.
Yeah.
I know you can get it at Big Lots and I think GFS, but it was one of the 2 candies that the governor was giving out at his house. So it's a mellow cream, so it's a little heavier on the cream and a little lighter on the honey.
Look at you wanting to be like the governor. That's never happened in that chair ever.
I could have done that job and done it well.
Hey, let's talk about what's going on with the Lawrence Chamber. And this is still many months away, but on April 8th of next year, there's a total eclipse that's coming. And Indianapolis is going to be right in the path of totality. And you guys are already planning something for this.
Already? Shoot, we're in the home stretch of this. So, Casey, I don't know
how proactive of you.
Yeah,
if only our government worked that way.
It should. So I don't know if our listeners know. I don't just hang around WIBC waiting for somebody to be sick or ill or get sued or something to come on the air. My day job is I run the Greater Lawrence Chamber of Commerce. And about a year and a half ago, we were at our Indiana State our National Chamber Executives Convention. It happened to be here in Indianapolis. Chamber execs from around the country were here, and I was in this breakout session, and some of the people from Kentucky and down south who were in the path of totality of the last eclipse back in 2017 were saying, listen, you can't start planning early enough. You can't plan too much. This is going to be bigger than you can possibly ever imagine. Start planning now, because it's going to be coming through central Indiana. So I started looking, and I told the city, told my board, I go, this is going to be big. It's going to be big. Well, so we started planning in Lawrence a year ago, and I think people were kind of skeptical. They're like, really? How many people are going to show up? The city of Indianapolis is estimating that in central Indiana, we are going to get 400,000 visitors coming to central Indiana. So Lawrence, fortunately, got ahead of the curve. We are having an entire weekend worth of events. So the eclipse is on a Monday at 3 in the afternoon. So on Saturday, I believe there's a 5K that they have planned. There's a Eclipse pickleball tournament
Of course
for
there is.
Sunday.
Well, why wouldn't there be a pickleball
Because
tournament
there's a
to
pickleball
celebrate
tournament for everything. That's
an eclipse?
going to be the demise of civilization.
Yeah.
But then on Monday morning, the YMCA is going to be doing Eclipse Yoga. The city of Lawrence is pulling out their giant mobile stage. We've lined up bands for the entire day in Lawrence Community Park, and it's going to culminate with the Jay Baker Band playing both before the eclipse, and then they're going to cut it off at about 3 o'clock. We're all going to enjoy the eclipse, and then Jay Baker is going to fire back up afterwards. And one of the purposes of that is traffic will be a nightmare for hours to come once the eclipse is done at 3:15. So the more that we can hold people there and let them disperse, the better. But yes, so if you're making plans now to watch the eclipse, I would come to Lawrence. Just like the state park said that they can hold 400 cars. Their plan right now is to open that up to 700 cars. But even then, for them to process 700 cars through the gate will take them all day. So it'll be backed up. So make
Lots
alternate
of
plans.
Local restaurants going to offer eclipse-themed specials and also a brewery with special eclipse beer.
Yeah, so Triton Brewery is going to make a special light and dark eclipse beers, and all the places that would normally be closed on Sundays and Mondays, we've encouraged them to stay open and have hours. And we're like, listen, there's going to be a lot of people here. But even like all the hotels in central Indiana are starting at like $1,000 a night.
Well, good for you for being so proactive on that. I don't even know what I'm doing tomorrow, let alone April 8th of 2024.
Well, as long as you're still in central Indiana, it's going to be dark that afternoon.
And I heard that IMS is planning a lot of stuff, too.
They are.
All right, it is 28 minutes after 9. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
She's running around. Her breath doesn't smell. Her digestive system is perfect. It has made such a huge difference.
What did this dog parent do for their dog? She switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-sized bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. They're best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/healthy or text healthy to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/healthy or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
Tiffany absolutely hated her job.
I was living paycheck to paycheck on a dead-end job that I did not like.
She'd been considering a change with My Computer Career.
I was able to qualify for financial aid.
Just 2 nights a week in a classroom and studying from anywhere online opened up a whole new world to her.
I get job offers all the time. IT is practically recession-proof.
Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
I highly recommend My Computer Career.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu. This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Getting people out. A clear radar, mostly cloudy, 32 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. A crossing between Egypt and Gaza is open, allowing many people stuck in Gaza to leave as fighting continues between Hamas and Israeli forces.
It's great news that this crossing is open, not only to get injured Palestinians and vulnerable elderly people that need medical attention out, but also those foreign citizens.
Fox's Trey Yingst. Israel says its fighter jets have killed a Hamas commander in a Gaza refugee camp. The Israeli military saying Tuesday's airstrike killed Ibrahim Biari. Trump family members are set to begin testifying this week in the New York Trump Organization civil fraud trial. Donald Trump Jr. expected to take the stand either today or tomorrow, followed by Eric Trump, Ivanka Trump, and finally, former President Donald Trump himself. The Texas Rangers zeroing in on their first World Series title in franchise history.
Corey Seager smashes the ball down the line. Goodbye! 3-0 Texas.
The call from Fox Sports, that homer, the beginning of a long rally by the Rangers, who would end up winning last night 11-7 over the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Rangers need one more win to clinch the World Series. Now the stock reports some modest gains at the opening bell. The Dow was up 25 to 33,160. The Nasdaq up 32 to 14,524. And the S&P 500 is up 9 to 4,222. I'm Kirk Darling on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
What is 988? It's a way forward. It's a listening ear. It's whatever help you need when you need it. The 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline offers trained crisis specialists ready to talk to you 24/7. If you or someone you love is experiencing a mental health or substance use crisis in their life, call or text 988. Want more information? Visit 988indiana.org.
Greetings from R&R Agency, your Indiana health insurance pros. We recently saved a 50-year-old couple over $300 per month when compared to their old individual plan. We recently saved a family of 4 over $400 per month when compared to their quote on healthcare.gov. We are now entering the crazy enrollment season when our federal government will spend millions telling us that healthcare.gov is our only good option for quality health care. Whether it's called healthcare.gov, Affordable Care Act, or it's still Obamacare, don't let the federal government or their big insurance company cronies tell you that you don't have a choice. Give us a call at 317-563-0868 or go to rragency.org. That's 317-563-0868 or rragency.org. If you don't call us, we can't help you. Quoting the great Dr. Duke Tomato, Lord, please help our Colts. And as always, God bless America, or at least what's left of her.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning, 9:33. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall has the day off today. Brad Klopfenstein is in. Did you see this? The Pentagon announced plans for a new nuclear bomb.
Well, the old ones just weren't getting it done, Casey.
This one is 24 times as powerful as the one that was dropped on Hiroshima in 1945. 24 times as powerful.
Well, cities have gotten bigger. And
we need a bigger one?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
I thought, so apparently we are following the letter of the law and not necessarily the spirit, because I thought we were in the process of disarming and getting rid of nuclear weapons. So apparently we've decided, yes, we're only going to have 2, but they're going to be 2 really big ones.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't know much about nuclear strategic warfare, but as you're saying.
Haven't you seen the movie War Games with Matthew Broderick?
Shall we play a game? It seems to me the bombs we already have would do the trick, but this comes just a few days after China said that they plan to double their arsenal of nuclear warheads to over 1,000 by the year 2030. So this is all very comforting and reassuring, especially since we started the show with Christopher Wray saying we're at a whole other level of security threat in the country.
So how do you feel about having much larger nuclear bombs?
Well, isn't that what this is? It's the big swinging bomb contest we've got going on.
It is. Yes. Now, me personally would think you would be better off having several little ones, but apparently somebody at the Pentagon or a contractor has decided that
we need something bigger and better.
Yes.
The BBD, the bigger, better deal. Okay, so the U.S. currently has over 3,700 nuclear warheads. And you might recall, though, during the 2020 election, Joe Biden said that he was going to bring us closer to a world without nuclear weapons. And then turned around and did the exact opposite.
He's doing it. We're just going to have one.
Yeah, one big one. It's a pretty ambitious effort, and we're spending more than $750 billion over the next decade to revamp all the ones that we currently have. Apparently, all of our nuclear defenses are aging, so they need to spend a lot of money to upgrade all the systems and parts. They are 50 years old.
No, when I had a summer job in college where I was out in Annapolis, Maryland, and along the East Coast working for the local school system, and they had acquired some property that had been decommissioned nuclear missile silos. And we were using it as storage, but it was very creepy to go into these things just knowing what they were built for. And they were literally everywhere. And I think that there's actually some up around LaPorte in northwest Indiana and those were installed to protect some of the steel mills that were up there. So there's more out there than you would know. As you mentioned, we have 3,700, and they are on ships, on land, on sea, anywhere you might think of them, and they're flying around.
This is one of those things that I like knowing that we have them, but I don't want to know that we have them. I don't want to know that other countries have them. I want to stop the other countries.
Ignorance is bliss. I'm with you.
Exactly. Okay, so what's going on in Lawrence? You've got the candidates for the mayor race raising a lot of money.
So I suggested that we talk about this today, and that this is not unusual to Lawrence, I don't think. So the Lawrence mayor's race, it is a very tight race. I would call it a toss-up right now. So far, $600,000 have been spent in that race, which for a city of 50,000 people, that is 30 votes or $30 per person being spent on that race. Indianapolis, which is basically 1 million people, I think that one's upwards of $30 million.
I think it's closer to 20 at this point.
Now,
somewhere between 20 and 30.
So Jim Merritt and I had Jefferson Shreve on our podcast a couple weeks ago.
Did you ask him how much he spent? Because it's being reported he's close to $15 million.
Yeah, and I think 13.5 or 14 of that is his own. So and I asked him, I'm like, so how did this conversation go with your wife when you said, I'm thinking about running for mayor and I'm going to spend enough to buy a beachside mansion in the Caribbean? And he's like, well, interesting. I was on the beach when I talked to my wife about it, and she said no the first 2 times we talked.
She didn't want him to run
She did not want him to run.
Or she didn't want him to spend the money.
I don't know. So, I mean, he obviously has a lot of money, and he did not expand on whether or not her no was financial based, or I don't want to open ourselves up to that. But he spent a lot of money, more money than you and I will ever see. Yeah,
well, he has more money than you and I will ever see.
Yes.
So you think it's too much money for a political race?
I don't know. I mean, you looked at, so the mayor of Lawrence probably makes $80,000 or $90,000 a year. I'm just throwing that out there. Indianapolis is probably $120,000. So to spend millions of dollars, I mean, you could never recoup that in salary. And then at what point is it the law of diminishing returns where, you run another $600 television commercial? Are you really going to sway any more voters, or do you just have to be present at that point? Now, there's an ad that started running on these airwaves on Monday that I find curious. So Deb Whitfield is the Democratic candidate for mayor in Lawrence. She is currently a Lawrence Common Councilor. She is voicing a commercial for City County Councilor Maggie Lewis, but she just introduces herself as Deb Whitfield, or Lawrence Common Councilor, and then goes into why you should vote for Maggie Lewis. It seems to be kind of a softball lob, letting Deb Whitfield get some name ID, which I've said her name now 3 times, so it's helping her. But if Maggie Lewis is going to give her that assist, why not just give her some money, donate some airtime? I'm very curious why they chose to go that route.
Because they have the money to spend?
Apparently. I mean, those are the only Maggie Lewis ads I can ever recall hearing.
Yeah, well, a lot of people say keep the money out of the politics, but the Supreme Court said differently.
It is speech.
That's it exactly. Money equals speech. So they're trying to get that message out there.
I have wrestled with this my entire life, Casey. I would like to think that if I had Jefferson Shreve type money, I would run, and that would allow me to get my message out. But on the other hand, I would think that there's other ways to do it, and I just think the more money that flows into politics, the more likely it is that someone is going to be corruptible because they owe favors.
Oh, yeah, good point. Okay, so it is 9:40. It's the Kendall and Casey show on 93 WIBC. Do you know who Theo Vaughn is?
I did not until you told me.
Okay, so this guy, he's a comedian, he's a podcaster, he's got over 2 million subscribers, and he sat down and talked with Tucker Carlson, and this just dropped last night, and it was a 3-hour podcast. I mean, we could have grabbed all sorts of clips from this conversation they had. I found it fascinating. I wanted to keep listening. I didn't want to turn it off, but they're talking about Theo Vaughn's cocaine use. And I thought this part was a little interesting because Tucker, to me, sounds like he's kind of familiar with the lingo and just the entire conversation. Somebody who you wouldn't think would have that experience, but boy, he knows the talk. So what's going on there? Theo Von, this guy, he looks at things really differently. He says some of the weirdest stuff. It's like he wants to be this intellectual, but he's just so authentic and real. He's not in that elite group, but it's almost like he wants to be. I thought this conversation was really interesting. So let's take a listen to it.
I love the 12-step thing because you just like it, as with Christianity, which I also like, you admit right away that you are
powerless.
Yeah, exactly. You're not in control.
Your life's unmanageable. That's a nice word that they use a lot because it's like sometimes people are like, man, I'm not powerless. But I'll be like, things are unmanageable for me. The way that they phrased everything, it was just really articulate. But anyway, man, well, congrats on that. Yeah, I think it's interesting and it gives me a better scope to handle my own life, and it definitely gives me more opportunity to look at other people when I'm able to.
Do you find yourself less judgmental? And what about all the guys you used to do cocaine with? Do you still talk to them?
I did it by myself.
Good. That's a fun way to do it.
Yeah.
Chopping outlines at home.
Yeah. I'd change outfits and come back in and be a different guy doing it. Yeah. And I'm like, hey, don't do it. This is for me. Just yelling at the other me.
You're literally doing it alone.
Oh, yeah, brother. I would do it alone and I'd go hide it somewhere. And I'd be like, I'm going to bed. I'm not doing it anymore. And then I would get up and go find it, and I would do more. And
it does affect your sleep patterns.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, I've heard that. Yeah.
So they're talking about recovery, right?
Yes.
Both of those people from very different backgrounds, and they've both stated that all they want to do is be able to speak their minds without someone looking over their shoulder. Hence the podcast from Theo Von, and we all know what Tucker Carlson's doing now.
So now my thoughts are, Casey, you and I are both Gen Xers, and I feel like I've been kind of a man of the world. I sold beer. I was in Broad Ripple. I mean, I've been out. I stayed a bachelor until just a year and a half ago.
Right.
I am constantly amazed as I get older. You find the things you find out about people you thought you knew, and you find out, oh, those people are a big cokehead, or those people are swingers, or
keep them talking.
Right, exactly. And I'm like, am I this naive and sheltered?
Didn't know.
Yeah, I'll have a few beers once in a while, but I don't party like that, but I think a lot of people do.
Yeah, I'm the same way, Brad. I'm shocked all the time that am I that naive that I didn't know that? And maybe actually I am. But Tucker was the guest on Theo Von's podcast, but he completely took the lead of the interview. But it doesn't come across that way. I just thought that was really interesting because Theo Von is the host of his own podcast. You bring somebody like Tucker Carlson in, and then they flipped it. And Tucker was the one who was lobbing up questions, but it didn't come across as egotistical or I'm going to take over your space. But that's exactly what he did.
It's the traditional roles, and I think that Tucker is used to that, so it's very easy for him to morph into that. And Theo Von, I'm sure, was just a little starry-eyed.
Yeah, I'm sure he was.
Although it happens. One time when Abdul had his show on the other radio station, I was filling in because it was the morning after his bachelor party. So I'm like, hey, I'll fill in, Abdul. You come in whenever you want to come in. It was the weirdest thing because I was sitting in his chair interviewing Abdul as if he was the guest on his own show.
Yeah.
And it ended up flip-flopping just because that was our natural relationship.
It is 9:45. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, exactly how bad is this real estate market? And Donald Trump Jr. is coming to Indianapolis to campaign for Jim Banks and his dad. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC.
When you hear the name Jefferson Shreve, what do you think of? A candidate for mayor? Sure, he's that. But he's also an original supporter of Donald Trump. Jefferson Shreve has been with Trump from the very beginning, even despite Trump lying over 30,000 times, being accused of sexually assaulting 21 women. And Jefferson Shreve never condemned January 6th. Shreve even donated thousands of dollars to Trump's election deniers. It's bad enough that Jefferson Shreve got an A rating from the NRA and wants to ban abortion. But Jefferson Shreve and Donald Trump? That's a combination that's bad for Indianapolis.
This is Joe Hogshead. And I'm asking for your vote so we can continue hiring more police, get guns off the street, and invest in programs that keep kids out of trouble. We've overcome a lot in these last few years. I'm grateful for your support so we can get the job done.
Paid for by Hogshead for Indianapolis.
Looking for a beautiful and functional upgrade to your home this holiday? 3-Day Blinds has you covered. But hurry, most blinds and shades ordered by November 8th can be installed by Thanksgiving. At 3-Day Blinds, our free in-home design consultation makes it easy. A 3-Day Blinds design expert will help you find the window treatment solution that works best for your home's needs and style. We bring the showroom to you with loads of samples, giving you an idea of how different fabrics look in your home. Your designer also provides expert measurements and helps coordinate installation. Book your free in-home consultation by visiting 3dayblinds.com. You'll even find window treatments with Motorized by 3-Day Blinds. Whether you're at home or on vacation, you can operate your window treatments with the touch of a button using the 3-Day Blinds app. 3-Day Blinds is here to solve your window treatment needs for the holidays. But hurry, most blinds and shades ordered by November 8th can be installed by Thanksgiving. For your free custom same-day quote, schedule your free in-home design consultation now at 3dayblinds.com. That's 3dayblinds.com.
1 point, 1 swing, 1 tackle, 1 step. One trusted hospital system for orthopedic care. Franciscan Health's orthopedic, sports medicine, and rehabilitation teams offer state-of-the-art treatments, including total joint replacement, physical therapy, and the latest techniques and interventions for a variety of conditions, including arthritis and orthopedic sports-related injuries, keeping you in step, one step at a time. Find a full range of orthopedic care in one place. Go to franciscanhealth.org/orthocare.
If there's anything better than getting a few of your favorite things from McDonald's, it's getting a few of your favorite things from McDonald's for less in the McDonald's app. Delicious. Order in the McDonald's app today. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
When the Colts score, so do you. Buy one Big Mac and get another on us when the Colts make a field goal. Only in the McDonald's app. Offer valid day after Colts game at participating McDonald's. Valid once per day. Must opt into rewards.
Join WIBC this Saturday, November 4th for the Home and Garden Show live from Sullivan Hardware and Garden from 9 to 1. Meet us at 71st and North Keystone and get into the holiday spirit during the Holiday Open House with Sullivan Hardware and Garden and 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is 9:49. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Mr. Rob Kendall has the day off. Brad Kloppenstein is joining us. So, Brad, a majority of Americans say they are behind on their emergency savings. This is according to a new poll. That shouldn't shock anybody. I mean, we've got groceries at an all-time high, gas prices at an all-time high. So many people have their student debt that they're not able to, afford. So everybody is spending like there's no tomorrow. And if you've seen the news lately, hey, you never know, there might not be.
There might not be a tomorrow.
There might not be.
This reminds me, I met with a financial planner like 20 years ago. He said, "No, Brad," and they did the normal financial planner questions. He goes, "If you lost your job today, how long could you make it?" I'm like, "I'd probably make it till this weekend."
I saw a video of a guy, he was at a gas station and he pulled up and he could see all the receipts in the trash can next to the pump of people, and he started digging out receipts and he was like, well, let's see where everybody is. Oh, current balance $124, current balance $400, current balance, like, oh my gosh. Rip up those receipts, by the way, before you put them in the trash.
I didn't know that they had the balance on it.
But that doesn't surprise me, though, when you see these polls that says 38% of people surveyed said that they have no money for an emergency. 22% say they're slightly behind. And, they say you're supposed to have a 6-month emergency base. A 6-month, people can't even, like you said, 6 days, 6 weeks,
right,
let alone half a year.
Yeah, but most Americans, or a significant proportion of Americans, live paycheck to paycheck. And it's been that way for a while, but it is getting worse. And some of it is that, yes, you've got inflation chewing things up. We've now got, the prime rate is now, for a mortgage, is over 8%. I mean, Sheila and I looked at buying some property in our neighborhood, but we couldn't financially make it work. We were going to turn it into a rental, but the amount we were going to have to charge for rent to cover the mortgage, it wouldn't work.
Yeah. So under Biden, paying bills and saving for emergencies, replacing saving for retirement. Well, I mean, emergency. Retirement.
Well, some of
Can
it
we
is
even
the
get there?
It's the lottery culture. A lot of people don't believe that they can actually work hard and save enough to ever be wealthy, so they plow money that would otherwise be going into savings or investments, and they just play the lottery, and they're hoping that it'll pay off.
Yeah. So this is a top concern for people aged 21 to 64 is saving for retirement. But I'm very confused by this because President Walnut, Joe Biden, was talking about this yesterday, and I don't understand. We have to listen to this. Maybe you can help me figure out what he's saying here.
Now, I would argue that most people, an awful lot of people, not the people in this room, but an awful lot of people don't think about that retirement when they're 20, 30, and 40 years old. But here's what it means. Many Americans spend their whole lives working, putting every dime left at the end of the month in their retirement account.
He started by saying people in their 20s, 30s, and 40s don't think about retirement, but many people work their entire lives to put every penny towards retirement. Which is it, old guy?
Kevin, do we have at the ready the clip from Billy Madison where they're in the debate and the moderator just says, not a single thing you said made any sense. We were all dumber for having listened to it. May God have mercy on your soul.
Yeah, so which is it? Nobody's thinking about retirement, but they're working and putting every penny towards retirement. It's so confusing. That's your president. Okay, so the House Oversight Committee, speaking of the Bidens, the House Oversight Committee revealed that Hunter received a $250,000 loan. Yeah, from his Chinese business associates. But this was back in 2019, and this was just a couple months before his dad, dear old dad, announced his run for president. And didn't pay it back himself. But I bring this up because I want to talk about Hunter Biden. Did you see that video that was circulating last night about him?
Oh my God.
What was up with that? If you didn't see it, it's Hunter Biden and it's in selfie mode.
It is in selfie mode.
But it's a video.
He's curiously always in the center of the screen, but his eyes are blown.
He looked high, didn't he?
He did. I don't think he blinked the entire time.
And he's circling around in whatever residence he was in. And Brad, I watched that thing a dozen times, and I kept looking to think this is a fake. This is a deep fake, right?
Right.
Because I thought, oh, here it comes. This is a deep fake. And it came the day after Biden announced all of that AI proposals, right? And he even said, when he was making the announcement, I've seen myself saying things, and I thought, when did I say that? And then, okay, the very next day, Hunter Biden releases this weird-looking video. Are they going to come out and say, oh, that was a deep fake? We're trying to prove our point. If not a deep fake, what is he doing? Is he trying to prove where he is?
I think we go back to our cocaine conversation from a little bit ago. Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't understand. I couldn't figure out the purpose of it.
He's trying to timestamp his whereabouts?
Possibly. Proof of life.
Exactly.
I don't know.
Like he had something intentional because he didn't say anything in the video.
No, he just kind of wandered around staring at the camera.
It was just quiet the whole time, and yeah, that's the first son. Okay, it's the Kendall and Casey show. It's 93 WIBC. Good morning.
Hey, it's Rob. I started losing hair around my crown and my hairline was starting to recede. I went to We Grow Hair Indy and they helped grow my hair back. My friend Dave First, a sports broadcaster for over 20 years, also struggled with hair loss. Dave, what happened?
My thinning hair was bothering me. For me, I'm in the public eye. I'm a dad also, and I want to look and feel my best. And if I'm going to do something about my hair, I want to go with the best. We Grow Hair Indy. They really set the standard.
Dave, that's amazing. I had the same procedure, multi-unit hair grafting transplants, which gives you more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Call 317-522 2995 for your free hair and scalp evaluation. Find out if hair transplants or PRP is right for you.
If you're thinking about this, don't waste your time or money. Go to the experts.
Call 317-522-2995, 522-2995, or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com, the gold standard for hair restoration.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and it's the season of thankfulness, and I'm really thankful for the talented professionals at ZeroRez who've kept my floors and ductwork so very clean this year. The whole family can see how our carpets and floors have remained clean and fresh month after month. The ZeroRez service is easy to line up, and you can go online at ZeroRezIndy.com to do the scheduling at your convenience. Here's the thing. There's no licensing to be a professional carpet cleaner, and the marketplace is full of incompetent people with lousy products. But not the folks at ZeroRez, who are literally the best of the best. Get your home ready for the holidays and get ZeroRez for you and your family. And don't forget the ZR water difference. No soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, leaving things really clean. Now mention WIBC and get 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $139. Plus you'll get $50 off air duct cleaning too. That's right, air duct cleaning, and it'll help improve the air quality in your home, help reduce your energy costs, and it'll help you just breathe easier. Schedule your appointment online at ZeroRezIndy.com.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Binges, blackouts, regret, shame, trying and failing to drink less or quit. Hi, I'm Jonathan, founder of Or Health. I know how scary drinking too much can be because I struggled with alcohol misuse for most of my adult life. But I also know that it is possible to drink less or quit. And medication can help. Naltrexone is a safe, effective medication that makes it easier to cut back or quit drinking, so you don't have to rely on willpower alone. I started Or Health to make access to naltrexone convenient and private, to help people like me regain control over alcohol.
If you're ready to stop drinking or just drink less, text REGAIN to 323232 to get a secure link to Or Health's private online assessment. Our licensed medical professionals will evaluate your assessment, and if medication is right for you, prescribe it online. We'll deliver your prescription right to your door. No doctor's office visits required. Text the word REGAIN to 323232 to get started today. That's REGAIN to 323232.
Hi, this is Denny Smith. When it comes to your well, preventive maintenance is the key to safe and reliable water. C&J is offering their well cleaning special, and it's a deal that really helps improve the quality of the water you consume every day. To prevent problems, you simply must do a bacteria sampling, amps test on the pump, switch analysis, pressure tank check, piping exam, and a flow evaluation. Clean your well to protect the water you drink, bathe in, and wash your clothes. Call C&J to keep your water source safe, sanitary, and reliable. 317-852-WELL.
Jesse Kelly here. Do you feel protected? My personal protection plan is owning gold. The Oxford Gold Group helps you buy gold to have on hand or convert it into your 401k. If things get weird, I have gold on hand. I like that. You can buy coins or convert part of your 401k with the Oxford Gold Group. It's easy and safe. 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD. 833-995-GOLD.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the warm-up is coming soon, but for now, you still have to deal with cold temperatures, plus what had firefighters in Frankfurt busy last night, and another reminder why you should always look through your child's Halloween candy after trick-or-treating. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
Donald Trump Jr. will soon take the witness stand. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. In New York at the Trump Organization's civil trial, the former president posted on Truth Social this morning, "Leave my children alone."
Eric Trump, who is running the day-to-day operations of the Trump Organization, is scheduled to testify on Thursday, and Ivanka Trump is set to take the stand next week. The former president is scheduled to testify on Monday.
As Fox's Tanya J. Powers in that Trump online rant today again called the case rigged, and he's being railroaded, denying the company committed fraud as the judge already ruled. He wrote that judge is a disgrace and dangerous. Well, a hearing resumes this morning in Colorado in the lawsuit attempting to block the former president from being on the state's 2024 election ballot, claiming his conduct around the Capitol riot disqualifies him. under a Civil War-era insurrection provision in the Constitution's 14th Amendment, but the former president remains the Republican frontrunner by far. And the new Fox News Power Rankings just out, followed by
Florida Governor Ron DeSantis and former UN Ambassador Nikki Haley. Haley is seeing a rise in support, and it's coming at the expense of someone that she's challenged directly on the debate stage, businessman Vivek Ramaswamy. Our rankings show he and two other candidates are experiencing what we're calling growing pains, Chris Christie and Senator Tim Scott.
It's Fox's Mark Meredith. As Israel wages war against Hamas at 26th day following the terror attack. Fox's Mike Tobin reports from Israel. Some people stuck in Gaza are finally being allowed out.
Hundreds of foreign nationals have crowded in the southern end of the Gaza Strip, hoping to get out to Egypt. Some 80 people who are wounded or sick were getting out in ambulances, which showed up at the crossing this morning.
House Republicans will be working up their bill for military aid to Israel in committee today without additional support for Ukraine. U.S. Ambassador to Ukraine Bridget Brink just told Fox.
Helping Ukraine push Russia out and push Russia back to the 1991 borders is an existential question for Ukraine. But it's in U.S. strategic interest that we help them do that.
America's listening to Fox News.
Jesse
Free
Kelly here.
WIBC mobile news on the level, on the go.
It'll get better. For now, it's still cloudy and 34 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Things will warm up as the week goes on, but you can expect temps back in the 50s soon.
That's your normal high temperature that we expect to see. So once we get up into the 60s, that's a little above normal. We've had temperatures this time of year that have been even higher than that.
Randy Bowers with the National Weather Service. Much of central and northern Indiana got a dusting of snow Tuesday evening. Engulfed in flames. That's how firefighters found the press box at the Frankfort High School football stadium last night. The stadium, known as the Yard to locals, has been an old press box, and it was found on fire at around 9 o'clock. Firefighters got to the stadium and quickly got the fire put out. It's not clear how it started. No one was hurt. Always check the candy. In Middletown, just south of Muncie, parents found a pill containing meth in their child's candy bag after trick-or-treating Tuesday night.
We've only had one report of it, and I don't want this to ruin the Halloween activities in the future for the town.
Chief Landon Dean with Middletown Police, he says the chances are slim of making an arrest with the amount of houses in the area giving out candy. A man was killed in Jackson County back in 1982. Investigators now believe they've arrested the right man for murder. John Herrick reports.
It was on December 1st, 1982, that the body of Clifford Smith was found. Police say he died from a gunshot wound to the head. On Tuesday morning, though, they arrested Ronald Anderson at his home in Seymour. They think Anderson was at a home with Smith in late October and had a shotgun that was used to kill Smith, only to return back to the home with the murder weapon. John Herrick, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
They're back, the blue corduroy jackets, as the National FFA Convention kicks off today in downtown Indy. Here's what some of the kids taking part are looking forward to.
And it's just really cool because they're like showing you things that you didn't know existed.
The free stuff.
For everyone being able to see national officers, seeing what kind of opportunities FFA has.
The convention runs through Saturday. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
One of the great things about little boys and little girls is when they grow up, they want to be just like you. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. So to moms and dads, aunts and uncles, and grandparents everywhere, remember this. The next time you get in the car and don't buckle your seatbelt, a little boy is watching. And when you decide to text or dial and talk while driving, a little girl is watching your every move. And when you head down the road with a beer or cocktail in the car, that little person next to you is taking it all in. In this life, you have an awesome responsibility to those children who love you the most and want to be you in every way. So make a pledge today to be a good role model to these kids and their friends so that that little boy and that little girl get to grow up and be just like you. Morgan & Morgan, for our children.
Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, November 1st. It's 5 minutes after 10. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. Except Rob Kendall has the day off, and that guy is Brad Kloppenstein. Thank you for coming in today, Brad.
Good morning, Casey. Now, we have to behave ourselves now.
We do?
My dad lives down in Newburgh, down by Evansville, and he shuttles cars for a local car dealership that has several dealerships down in Evansville, and they have one in Lebanon. So on Monday, Wednesday, Friday, he drives a car from Evansville up to Lebanon and then turns around. So at about 10 o'clock, he is within the radius to listen to us.
Okay.
So my dad is now listening. So don't let us embarrass ourselves on Central Indiana radio.
Oh, well, thank gosh we have one listener. We know for sure.
Thanks for listening, Dad.
Brad's dad. We're doing all of this for you. And we'll try and keep it clean. Okay, so let's call this segment Trump Time. It's just the Trump lightning round.
Is it like hammer time?
It's a lot to cover in a short amount. We got a long way to go and a short time to get there, Brad, okay?
We can do this.
Okay, so the trial to boot him off the ballot in Colorado, that kicked off this week. Lawyer for the former president claimed that it's a tawdry definition of insurrection, and that's what they're using as an excuse to stop him from running for president in the state of Colorado. Now, some anti-Trump groups are trying to follow suit in Michigan and Minnesota. They're saying that the 14th Amendment would prevent Trump from running in 24.
Now, these are all kind of left-leaning states, I've noticed.
Think?
So, yeah.
Colorado, Michigan, Minnesota. Yeah. Michigan has flip-flopped back and forth. Michigan is more of a purple state. It really depends on what section of the state you're talking about, too, because Detroit can be very blue, Grand Rapids can be very blue, but the rest of the state is very red.
Right.
So the 14th Amendment says anyone who swore an oath to uphold the Constitution and then engage in an insurrection or rebellion is disqualified from holding higher office.
So I'm fascinated to watch how this is going to go to see if a state can usurp federal law and basically, which and some of this is, I'm sure that their angle is, states are allowed to conduct their own elections, and that they just report then to Washington, D.C. Here's where our electors are, and here's who we vote for, and then the primaries are basically a function of the political parties. So I'm curious to see how much a state can insert itself, and I'm also curious to see if this lawsuit goes anywhere or if it is dismissed in the order that it was received.
Yeah. Also this week, Dr. Ben Carson, he endorsed Trump for president.
Benjamin Franklin was asked in 1787 after they finished the Constitutional Convention, "Sir, what do we have here, a monarchy or a republic?" He said, "A republic if you can keep it." The way we can keep it is we can put Donald J. Trump back in office. And as I stand here today, I want to offer my most confident and full endorsement of Donald J. Trump because
Okay, so a lot of people really respect him.
They do.
And as far as endorsements go, that's probably a pretty good one for Trump to have.
It's not a bad one.
Yeah.
No.
But does it matter?
No.
Endorsements?
No, Trump's the front runner. Now, I have said before, and I will say it again, the first party to dump their front runner, be that either Biden or Trump, will win the presidential election.
You think so?
I know so.
Why do you say that?
Because they are wildly unpopular and polarizing. And the first party that can get somebody who's under the age of 75, who is a moderate on the ballot, I think people will flock to that person.
It's interesting you bring that up because just yesterday, the Biden campaign has started attacking Trump for his age.
Yeah.
There's been all of this mental acuity talk about Joe Biden, and now they're starting to release videos online questioning Donald Trump's
They're
ability.
only 2 years apart.
Right. Well, if you're in South Carolina, you're still a big fan of Donald Trump, apparently, because he is still dominating in that state, and coming in a clear second place, although a distant second place, is Nikki Haley. So 53% of voters in South Carolina said that Donald Trump is their first choice. 22% picking Nikki Haley, followed by Ron DeSantis, who sits at 11%. Tim Scott, who is also from South Carolina, is only at 6%.
So, yeah, that's interesting because the two South Carolinians are running second and fourth, a distant second and fourth. I personally think Nikki Haley would be a very good choice for the Republicans to get behind. So we'll see if she continues to gain traction. But it can't be at the expense of the other 15 that are in the running, that are showing up to the debates. I mean, her or somebody else has to cut into the Trump lead. Otherwise, you're just playing with numbers that will never add up to more than 50%.
Okay, well, Trump is leading Haley by 50 percentage points among those with college degrees and also 40 points among Republicans total. But this is a clear message to Tim Scott, I think. He's only sitting at 6% in his own home state.
Yeah, well,
it's time to move on. Read the room.
My guess is that's one of the reasons Mike Pence dropped out. He looked around. I mean, he was going to run 6th or 7th in Indiana.
Yeah, that's a message. Also, with Donald Trump, Byron Donalds weighed in, and he's appearing to keep the door open to serve as Donald Trump's vice president if he were asked. Now, he was asked the question by a reporter if he would accept a role as vice president, and this was his answer.
I want to switch gears real quick, ask you about 2024, because I know some people would have liked to see you get the gavel, become speaker, but others say, well, maybe you have a different road ahead. Would you accept the vice president position if Donald Trump asked you to be his partner?
Well, look, Maria, first of all, I'll tell you, for Speaker Mike Johnson, I am happy for him. He's going to do a tremendous job leading the House of Representatives. You have a man of impeccable character, impeccable integrity, and the members have rallied around him. We're going to get back to work and do our jobs. With respect to being potentially on the ticket, that's really up to the president. I have no control over that. The only thing I'll say is I just want to do whatever I can to get our country on track. That's what I've always been committed to. So no matter what the role is, it's about getting our country back on track.
Okay, that seemed like kind of a non-answer to me.
It was a non-answer. Maybe he effectively was saying, let me talk to Mike Pence and see how that worked out for him, and then I'll get back to you.
Do you think that's what it was? I think if you think that you would be good enough to be vice president, you should say, heck yeah, put me in, coach.
Exactly. I would like. I know that people don't want to appear like they have a giant ego. I'm sure he has a giant ego, and I'm sure in his mind he's like,
he does. He's a politician.
I'd be a great vice president. In fact, I'd be a fantastic president. I want to get in with that old guy because you know what? He's not going to make it through his entire term, and that puts me in the chair.
I think that just shows maybe a little bit of insecurity or inexperience or possibly youth that he didn't grab it. Yes, Maria, I think I'd be a fantastic vice president. I should talk to Donald Trump about that.
Yes. Now, I don't know what is going on in his district in Florida on whether or not that seat could be at risk if he appeared that he was spending too much time trying to be vice president, not enough time trying to be a congressman. So, I mean, there's probably other things at play, and he probably has advisors who have said, yeah, don't get too anxious on this, because the last time Trump picked a vice presidential candidate, it was only because his plane had trouble and he had to spend the night in Indianapolis, and he went with the last person he talked to.
We're playing the Trump lightning round right now, and he has said in Iowa that he has more than $100 million in legal fees as the court battles are, ticking up. And I don't know if you saw this, but just yesterday, George Conway, Kellyanne Conway's ex, said that Trump is going to have to liquidate everything to pay all of these legal fees, including his place in Florida. I don't know if I believe he's going to have to liquidate everything. That to me sounds a little bit like some trash talk.
It does. It's based on his financial reports that he's in trouble for. He still has in the billions of dollars. Although, how funny would it be if Trump went to the court and said, yep, I'm insolvent. I need a public defender, please.
And who would take that? Who would want that job?
Oh, there's somebody out there.
There was also this new poll that came out of Iowa that says Nikki Haley is tied for second there, and she has increased her position by 10% since the last poll was done in Iowa. So she's really surging right now.
She is.
But is it going to be enough to even come close to catching him?
If
I mean,
8 years
Donald
ago,
Trump draws passion out of people.
He does.
Does Nikki Haley do that? And people
Possibly.
are voting. People are voting on their feelings now, Brad.
They are, and although traditionally somebody surges, and it's like a Vivek Ramaswamy who was, the darling of the moment, and then the luster kind of falls off. DeSantis peaked way early. Nikki Haley might be peaking now, and usually you get about a 6-week to 2-month window, and then all of a sudden you start to fall, and somebody else starts to rise. So she might be peaking too early.
Okay, so her campaign has been going for a long time now. She was like the first to officially launch a campaign and announce she was running for president. Her campaign message has largely remained the same. Now, there's the saying that wars make presidents, right? So what's going on in the Middle East could really affect Joe Biden, how he handles this. But it could also affect these candidates and their talking points.
Well,
and
Nikki Haley was our representative to the United Nations. She's got international chops. I mean, if you look at the field, she's probably as good as anybody on dealing on an international stage. She's clearly intelligent. She might hold on a little bit longer than some others that are just kind of a flash in the pan.
Yeah, well, I think she's definitely going to make it to New Hampshire. And speaking of New Hampshire, on Monday, the Democrats launched a write-in campaign for Biden because he passed on putting his name on the primary ballot there. He wanted South Carolina to go first, so his name's not even on the ballot. But now they're saying, oh, no, maybe we made a mistake.
You think?
Yeah.
Why would you pass? Why would you pass putting your name on any ballot if you know you're going to be running, even if you think that you're running unopposed? So, curiously, Dean Phillips, who's a congressman from the west side of Minneapolis.
You know him.
I know him. So I had to fire. This is how old this phone is. I had to go back 3 phones. It's an old Windows phone, which they haven't even made a Windows phone in 7 or 8 years. I fired that thing up last night. I have his cell number in that phone, so I put it in my new phone, and I sent him a text this morning. I wasn't even sure if it was an active number. I haven't talked to the man.
Did he reply to you?
He responded. He said,
did you ask him, why are you running for president?
I did not ask him that. I just said, hey, I'm going to be sitting in on WIBC, and we'd love to talk to you. And he's like, hey, great to hear from you. Email this email address. I'm looking forward to talking to you.
He big-timed you, huh?
Sort of.
He said, go through the proper channels. Don't just text me.
Well, the man's running for president now, and he is a congressman. And I'm imagining it's kind of a busy week for him. So, but I still have his number.
But what's his platform? Because the only thing that I've heard him say is that Joe Biden's too old.
Yeah, he's a Gen Xer, and he's a moderate. So now, you and I should like him. So he used to be CEO of Phillips Distilling Company, who makes UV vodka and Prairie vodka. So the man's worth allegedly $77 million. He now owns a small chain of coffee shops in Minneapolis, and he's living life.
Okay, does he have the money to run for president?
$77 million is a fine start on getting there. I don't think he could completely self-fund, but he could certainly get himself into the conversation.
Okay, now I was surprised when you said that you knew Dean Phillips, the Democrat from Minnesota, who said he's running against Joe Biden. You said he's a nice guy. Yeah. You had a beer with him.
Yeah.
And
probably more than one.
You had a beer with a Democrat, and you said, well, I didn't know his politics.
I did not know his politics. So we were at the American Beverage Licensees Convention out in Las Vegas, and he was there pitching vodka and the other things that they have, and we were talking about things that we could do with that company in Indiana for the bar owners that I was representing. But he's just a guy. I mean, he's a nice guy, and yeah, he's not all full of himself. He's he's a guy that could be sitting here right now, and you'd say, oh, this guy might work at WIBC. He might be in mid-level sales somewhere, or he might be a congressman.
Okay. Did you hear that Biden and Xi Jinping from China are going to meet in San Francisco in November?
They're going to have a beer, maybe take in a Warriors game or something.
November could be a crazy month. If you think about this, you got daylight saving time, you have the election, you have the GOP debate, you've got Biden meeting with Xi Jinping in November. I mean, all of these things are happening. I'm really curious if Biden is going to ask Xi about China investing $400 billion in Iran's economy over the next 25 years.
I hope they do ask. Could you imagine being the translators for that meeting, trying to decipher what it is that Joe Biden is saying and then translate that into Chinese and then back?
Well, they're going to need a translator for both of them.
They will.
To translate what Joe Biden's saying.
To go through that nonsense. But yes, I hope that he asks the hard questions or draws the hard line and says, you know what, you might not want to cozy up to Iran because they're about to be non-existent.
It is 20 minutes after 10. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
I alphabetized my soundboard. Well, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. F?
Fat, drunk, and stupid is no way to go through life, sir.
I have to go to S for Sopranos. Makes sense.
Yeah, I think you got it.
It's so clean now. It's fantastic. Yeah, we have clearly run out of things to talk about. There's nothing else going on in the world.
It's a great world, everything's so.
This show is stupid.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis is everything that's right about Central Indiana. They've been locally family-owned for 50 years, helping our local economy remain strong by employing 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis is proud to do business right here in the great state of Indiana. They're a conservative-minded company that shares our values and stands by their products and services. You can call Garage Doors of Indianapolis today for service today. 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
JMV here from Miss M's Home and Garden in Bargersville. Right now at Miss M's, get 50% off all fall decor, including mums. Save the date for the Miss M's Holiday Open House that's coming quickly, Saturday and Sunday, November the 18th and 19th. Stop in to see Miss M's Garden Shop and all the beautiful merchandise, including their lake house section. Miss M's Home and Garden on State Road 135, just south of Whiteland Road. MissM'sHomeandGarden.com. That's MissM'sHomeandGarden.com. Tell them JMV sent you.
At Simply Safe Home Security, your safety is the only thing that matters. That's why you get 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day, because every home deserves to be protected. Right now, get 45% off the whole home security system named the best of 2023 by U.S. News and World Report. Visit simplysafe.com/radio to save big today. Advanced Home Security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Welcome to Tire Discounters. Oh, hiya, Phantom.
Hi, Mike.
Hey, do you like to save big bucks?
I like big bucks. I cannot lie.
And the other brothers can't deny?
What? You know I don't have any siblings.
Well, let's just say that right now you can save big bucks on major brand tires.
I like big bucks.
And you cannot lie.
Why would I lie, Mike?
Never mind.
Stop by Tire Discounters and save up to $300 big bucks on select major brands, plus a free alignment with any 4-tire purchase.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
This president has been so zeroed in, so laser focused.
If you hold near and dear to you that you like to be able to... Anyway... we're going to get a lot done.
Good morning. It is 24 minutes after 10. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Rob has the day off today. Brad Klopfenstein is in. And did you see yesterday Elon Musk was joining Joe Rogan? It was the 4th time that he was on the Joe Rogan Experience podcast, and they were talking about all sorts of things. They talked about zombie apocalypse, and they made, Elon Musk made a really cringy joke at one point. They were talking about the Israel-Hamas war, and Elon Musk said something about hummus instead, and Joe Rogan was trying to move on, but then Elon stuck with it and was yelling out chickpeas, or it just was an awkward moment of the podcast. Like, Joe Rogan was like, I don't want to make these jokes. I don't want to talk about this. Of course, Elon Musk taking a little bit of heat because he offered to send Starlink to Gaza, and the Israeli government said Hamas will just use it for terrorist activities.
Yes. Elon Musk is a fascinating guy.
Yeah.
He's obviously has FU money. And
sure, he can do what he wants.
And he just chases things that interest him. Yeah, this whole Starlink thing has the potential to completely redefine internet and how you get your internet service. And I can see where Israel is like, they don't need any more ways to communicate. We would like to control where their water comes from and their electricity and their internet. So thank you, but no thank you.
He said that the Starlink would only be used for humanitarian reasons.
I don't know how you can control that. That's like saying you can only have access to half the internet.
Right. Humanitarian reasons of communication. Okay. But one of the things they were talking about is climate change. And this is an interesting take from Elon Musk. He debunks every climate myth ever told right here.
If you get them alone for a few days,
I'm in favor of. I'm pro-environment, but the in the limit, if you take environmentalism to an extreme, you start to view humanity as a plague on the surface of the earth, like a mold or something.
Right.
But this is actually false. The Earth could take probably 10 times the current civilization. The population you could 10x the population without destroying the rainforest.
Yeah. So you could 10x the population.
I think that's probably accurate. Back when we were children in the 70s and the population of the world was only, 3 billion people. And they're like, oh, yeah, once we get to 5 billion, there will be mass starvation and we'll never be able to sustain. It's amazing. Modern agriculture has been able to keep up with population increases for eons. And in fact, they've gotten better at it. So I tend to believe that modern agriculture will continue to keep up with the demands of an increasing population. And yes, there's lots of places. Anybody who's driven across the country will know there's still a lot of places to put people. And we haven't even tapped into Canada and lots of other areas around the world. So I think that there's room to grow. Now, I think that we can't just go out and loot our resources like they were prone to do in the 1800s and early 1900s. We have to at least be somewhat cognizant of what's going on. But yes, we could probably have 10 times the population and we will be fine.
They got on the topic of George Soros, and Elon had some comments about him.
I mean, Soros actually, he is, I believe, the top contributor to the Democratic Party. The second one was Sam Bankman-Fried.
Yeah.
So, and Soros, I don't know. I mean, he had a very difficult upbringing, in my opinion, he fundamentally hates humanity. That's my opinion.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, he's doing things that erode the fabric of civilization. Getting DAs elected who refuse to prosecute crime. That's part of the problem in San Francisco and LA and a bunch of other cities. So why would you do that?
Was it humanity or is it just the United States as a whole? I mean,
he's pushing things in other countries too.
He's doing the same thing?
Yeah.
So we started the show by talking about how money is speech, right?
It is.
And he's sitting there saying that George Soros is trying to erode the fabric of civilization. Why aren't there a bunch of rich Republicans who are doing what George Soros did and try and get these DAs put everywhere?
The Koch brothers were trying to do that for a while. At least one of them has passed away now. There are others, but when you're talking about people with that amount of money, that is a limited number. And then people who feel compelled to put all their money into politics, that number even dwindles. Now, I was thinking during that, Kevin, if you could get George Soros to come on as a guest on this show tomorrow, that would be great. So when we're done here, if you could try to line that up, that would be awesome.
Yeah, I might have some connections that have his number.
Fire up the cell phone.
Yeah, fire up an old cell phone. I mean, maybe you guys used to be drinking buddies. You don't know.
We've got your voicemails coming up next. It's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Well, changing question. Are you keeping as much of your investment gains as possible? High taxes can erode returns quickly, so you need a tax-optimized portfolio. At Creative Planning, our money managers and specialists work together to make sure your portfolio and wealth are managed in a tax-efficient manner. It's what you keep that really matters. Why not give your wealth a second look? Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Getting out. It's 35 and cloudy downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Hundreds of people are now able to get out of Gaza as fighting continues between Israel and Hamas.
Hundreds of foreign nationals have crowded in the southern end of the Gaza Strip, hoping to get out to Egypt. Some 80 people who are wounded or sick were getting out in ambulances, which showed up at the crossing this morning. As far as the list of people who can get out, there's one reportedly circulating in the Gaza Strip, but Americans and British nationals are not on that list.
Fox's Mike Tobin. President Biden will be in Minnesota to go speak at a farm today and announce more than $5 billion in rural infrastructure investments. The White House says the president will announce investments in climate-smart agriculture, economic development, broadband, and clean energy, as well as infrastructure needs in sparsely populated parts of the country. And the FFA convention begins today in downtown Indy. It's a convention that this student from Georgia loves to come to every year.
It can definitely change your life because, you can pick a career in it, and you can meet so many people, and it's so inspirational.
The convention runs through Saturday. I'm Kurt Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Guys, if you've noticed a lack of energy, motivation, and drive, it could be low T. Be sure to schedule your health assessment at Low T Center. They offer the convenience of physician-monitored, self-inject, at-home testosterone treatments with an average payment of just $150 a month cash pay, including labs and medication.
If you don't live near a Low T Center or you just need the convenience of at-home treatment, Low T Center makes it easy, shipping treatments directly to you. LowTcenter.com. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
What is 988?
It's a free 24-hour suicide and crisis lifeline.
And what is a crisis?
Maybe something you experience so often.
You don't even think it's a crisis.
Anxiety over money.
A stressful relationship.
Concerns about a loved one's mental health.
If you are experiencing thoughts of suicide or mental health or substance use crisis, call or text 988.
It's a listening ear.
And it's a way forward.
Every year, millions of people find a health plan at healthcare.gov during open enrollment. They enjoy more doctor visits.
Say ah.
Pick up prescriptions.
Thanks.
And find the care they need. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 a month or less with financial help. Enroll by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Healthcare.gov is here for millions like you, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatments at 317-559-PAIN.
317-684-8444. That's the phone number with your voicemails, questions, comments, smart remarks, whatever you'd like to contribute. We'd like to hear from you. It's 10:33. It is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Brad Kloppenstein in for Rob Kendall, who has the day off. No, he is not candy hungover. He just has the day off. But we did have few conversations about how or if Rob would pass out candy and how he would go about doing that. And somebody called and wanted to share a costume idea that they implemented one year.
Hi, Casey and Rob. I just wanted to call and comment about yesterday's talk regarding Rob and the Halloween candy. I hope he actually sat outside, gave a local government lesson, or at least asked history trivia to the kids. I have to tell you, back in the day when Halloween, my son went as a ballot box. It was when Obama was running against Romney, and we created a costume out of an actual cardboard box, decorated it in red, white, and blue with signs for each candidate. We then created slots that you would drop the candy into to vote, and they would actually fall into a bag so that my son could count how many votes he had for each candidate at the end of the night. It was probably the best costume out there. People were really excited to vote, and looking back, that night, I think we had proof of ballot harvesting as people got excited and dropped several pieces of candy for their chosen candidate, not just one. So maybe an idea for a future costume for baby Olivia. Yeah. Hope everyone had a safe Halloween. God bless.
It's a very scientific polling with the Halloween costume.
Wow, that is genius for that kid, encouraging people to stuff the ballot box.
Right. More votes, please. Okay, so yesterday we were talking about Diego Morales, Secretary of State, how he was handing out spot bonuses. 68 of his 75 staff members all got spot bonuses, totaling over $300,000, and we got a call about that.
Hi, Rob. Hi, Katie. This is Brian from Brownsburg. I was calling to comment on the spot bonuses from Diego Morales. I'm a former state employee myself, 14 years. And a lot of times those spot bonuses did not go to employees that necessarily deserved them. Every once in a great while, you would look at the bonuses and say, yeah, they deserved it. But most of the time it was, it pays to be in that clique. And that's all I got to say about that. Love your show. Have a good one.
So some favoritism
the
going
biggest
on.
butt kisser bonuses, it sounds like. Imagine being the 7 who didn't get one.
Right. How would you feel? You're not you're not in the club.
You're not in the club, and that means you might want to start looking for employment elsewhere. But yeah, does Diego think he's Oprah Winfrey? You get a spot bonus, and you get a spot bonus.
You get a bonus. Sure.
Come on, Diego.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. If you're one of those people who didn't get the bonus, maybe start updating the resume.
I was just texted. There's a hit piece going out in Lawrence that is comparing the Republican for mayor to Diego Morales.
Oh, really?
Yes. So Diego is part of a hit piece now.
Okay. In what way? Do you know? Does it say?
Oh, yeah. Well,
it's not published yet, huh?
I will share it with you, but basically it's got a red MAGA hat superimposed over Diego, and Todd Rokita is also on this piece.
Okay.
And then it's got Dave Hoffman, who's the candidate for mayor, with a superimposed MAGA hat over him, saying that they're all cut from the same cloth. And I'm like, Diego Morales, that's crossing the line. That's a low blow.
Okay, Kevin, this next voicemail, this one is for you.
Hey, I know Rob's name is on the marquee, but Kevin, I really like the line for the intro to the voicemail segment. That's all. Bye.
Yeah, have you noticed that since I made that, I've been playing it every day?
I know.
And Rob...
to Rob's chagrin.
Yeah, much to his dismay.
Yeah.
So I kind of like it. I think we should just stick with it.
Just stick with it. Well, he's not here today, so he didn't get a say, right?
Right.
And you know what? Tomorrow, he won't be behind the board, so you do what you want to do, Kevin, okay?
Yeah, I'm going to take ownership of this, and we're going to go forward with this
Keep
intro
pushing
music.
forward. I like it.
As I recall, you guys could only find 2 songs that ever even referenced voicemails, so you'd originally just chosen one of the 2 kind of on the fly. I'm glad to see that you're venturing out.
Well, there's also Carly Rae Jepsen's pop song,
Call Me
Maybe.
Yeah.
And I know Rob really hates that.
Oh,
well, and I suggested the Divinals' Ring Me Up is another one, but that may be a deeper cut. You probably know that
the
song.
Divinals, that is a deep cut.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of the Divinals.
I like that song. It's a good one.
Originally, I thought about mashing up different songs. Maybe I can do that in the future.
Okay. All right, we got another phone call. Mike Pence dropped out of the presidential race. Did you hear that?
I didn't know he was running.
Yeah, that happened this week, and we got a phone call about that.
So you guys were talking about what if Pence had sent the election back to the states. So that raises the question of if the states hadn't been able to resolve. I know this is a what-if scenario, but if the states hadn't been able to resolve the issues within 3 weeks because Biden was inaugurated 2.5, 3 weeks later, who would have been president of the United States then? Because it would have been Biden because he couldn't be inaugurated while the election's still up in the air. Trump and Pence's term technically would have been over until it was officially announced who won until the election was certified. So the next level of secession would have been the Speaker of the House, which you would think, Nancy Pelosi then. We have President Nancy Pelosi, which is a scary thought. But every new Congress has to elect or reelect a Speaker of the House. So she technically wouldn't have been Speaker of the House. So I guess it would have fallen to the President pro temp of the Senate, which I believe was Chuck Grassley. So we would have either had a President Nancy Pelosi or a President Chuck Grassley until the election was resolved. So that would have been like a whole mess of issues right there.
A bigger mess than one we already had.
Yes.
Okay, so I put this one on you, Brad, to do a little research because I'm not a constitutional attorney, nor do I play one on the radio. So what would have happened?
So I consulted my brain trust, and the best we could come up with is the Constitution never envisioned a scenario where this would happen. So I believe that Trump was counting on being able to stay in office with the support of the FBI and the Department of Justice until the Supreme Court could sort it out or the states came back with a different result. So they were not anticipating that it would fall to somebody else. However, it is not specifically laid out in the Constitution, so it would have been open to the courts to try to interpret how to handle that. It would have been a mess. We are very fortunate it did not happen.
Well, I'm certain that somebody who is smarter than both of us will correct us if we're wrong on that. I guarantee that'll happen. Okay, another phone call. Yesterday we were talking about the OnlyFans, the school teacher who got busted being on the OnlyFans and her friend who's making $1 million doing it. So maybe not a bad choice for them. But somebody called and had a comment about filters and dating sites.
Rob, I completely agree with you about the dating website thing. I am a huge advocate for getting rid of the filters that people can use on dating sites because, I mean, they make themselves look like, gorgeous women. I mean, you might be thinking, I'm going to meet up with someone who looks like Michelle Pfeiffer, and then you meet up in person and it's Barney Five coming at you. I'm all for... I wish these dating apps would not allow filters. Like if you try to upload a photo with a filter, it should reject the photo because it's getting ridiculous.
Okay, so
Don Knotts was a handsome fellow, especially when he had on a bow tie.
I understand what he's saying, that it's a little bit of misinformation or you're misrepresenting yourself, but the same could be said for dudes. I mean, you could be driving around some fancy sports car and you think, oh, this guy's loaded, right? And then it turns out he's in debt up to his eyeballs.
Women don't care about men's money.
Oh, you're right.
No.
But what are we going to do, like in the dating world? I need your medical history too.
It's just like any other dating. You just have to weed through it. I have an acquaintance who I've met through my wife, and she would do that. She would put a heavy filter on and then go on these dating apps, and she could never understand why she could never get a second date from any of these people. It's like, it's because you did the bait and switch. You don't look anything like this photo you have posted. And she slimmed herself down.
Sure.
She gave herself a very nice rosy complexion, and the guys get there and they were like, who are you?
Okay, is that any different though than doing like Botox in real life?
Not necessarily.
Because neither one of them are authentic.
Yeah, at
They're
least
both to enhance your looks.
They do enhance your looks, although I think at least Botox, you look in person like you do in the picture when you're Botoxed in.
Okay.
I mean, it's
Unless
no
you
different than
filter it.
makeup or anything else. I mean, but I think if you're using a filter, there's no way you can replicate that in real life.
All right, one last phone call. We were talking about food deserts, downtown Indy, and somebody had mentioned that the public transportation, we keep putting money into that to get people on the bus to go to the grocery store.
So I just heard a caller about the food desert and taking a bus to get to a grocery store. Yeah, that would work, but you have to remember you can't carry very many groceries back to home on a bus. Thanks.
Yeah.
So now I will say, when I first started with the Greater Lawrence Chamber, I heard a lot about Lawrence was a food desert. I'm like, really? There seems to be a lot of markets around here. So we actually mapped it out. And part of the problem was they say, well, so many of these people are 4 miles away from a grocery store. Well, there's a giant state park right in the middle, so they include that distance. But they also would not include all the little Hispanic neighborhood markets. in what they were figuring out. So all those little markets have fine produce and pretty much anything you would want to find at a Kroger. It's not always the same brand name, but I'm always skeptical when they say food deserts. There's places that you can get food, and it's typically relatively convenient. It's just not always what you're familiar with.
All right, that phone number, 317-684-8444, if you would like to leave us a voicemail for tomorrow's show. And did you know the Social Security Trust Fund is now scheduled to run out of money in just 10 years? And this news could dramatically change how and when you file for your benefits. It's Casey from the Kendall and Casey Show, and you can learn how you can wring every nickel out of your benefits with a free Social Security analysis, and that is from Bill Demery, your retirement guy. He's right here in Indy, you know. This free analysis pinpoints exactly how you could get the most income from Social Security while considering your taxes, IRA, and 401k withdrawals, and even spousal benefits. If you've saved more than $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis now by calling 317-932-9912. Save yourself a ton of time and possibly money and avoid making a critical mistake. That number, 317-932-9912. That's 317-932-9912.
Coming up on the Hammer and Nigel Show, all the gross, intimate medical details surrounding Hammer's colonoscopy. Also, Tony Kinnett from the Daily Signal, 3 o'clock, 93 WIBC.
Since I became mayor, our city has been through a lot.
Yes, Joe. 8 years of failures and excuses. Employers are fleeing for the donut counties. Roads? Congress did that, not Joe Hogsett. 700 new police. 800 have quit. Fourth in drug overdoses. And he hides that with a photo op.
I'm asking for your vote so we can get the job done.
After 8 years, shouldn't we expect more than deceptions? Isn't it time for a change?
If Joe Hogsett believed in his record, he'd defend it, not deceive us. But the facts of Hogsett's 8 years are just bad and getting worse. I've tried to campaign with respect for the facts, and I hope with respect for you, my neighbors. I'm not running because the mayor is a Democrat or for any kind of partisan agenda. I'm running to turn this around. I'm Jefferson Shreve, and I'm asking for your vote.
Paid for by Shreve for Mayor.
I want to talk to the ladies really quick. Do you have a hard time thinking of a Christmas gift for your dude? Well, if he's the type of guy who spends any amount of time in the garage, whether it be with the cars, the beer fridge, tools, lawn equipment, or big boy toys, Galaxy Concrete Coating can make it a brand new space, something you can both take advantage of because it will improve the value of your home. They offer stylish, durable floor options. They have a variety of patterns and colors, and boy, will your guy be excited. It's more affordable than you might think. Call them today. They can come out in one day and have it done in time for the holidays. It's Galaxy Concrete Coating, 317-751-9070. They're also online, galaxyconcretecoating.com.
She's running around. Her breath doesn't smell. Her digestive system is perfect. It has made such a huge difference.
What did this dog parent do for their dog? She switched to Nature's Blend, a premium freeze-dried raw dog food made by Dr. Marty Goldstein, a veterinarian Forbes magazine called the Miracle Worker. It's the easiest way to support your dog's easy digestion, nourished skin, playful energy, and most importantly, their healthy, full life.
I'm so confident your dog will love it. Your order is backed with a 90-day guarantee.
Save up to 54% off Nature's Blend and get a free full-sized bag of Tilly's Treasures dog treats. They're best-selling beef liver dog treats while supplies last. Go to drmartypets.com/healthy or text healthy to 511-511. Go to drmartypets.com/healthy or shop in over 2,000 stores nationwide. Use the store locator to find the store closest to you. All pets are unique. Your pet's results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply. Studies available upon request.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger, because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
We all make choices about alcohol. Kids make choices whether to drink or not.
Bye, Dad. Remember, I'm going to Alex's party tonight and sleeping over.
Hey, remind me about that party again?
And adults make choices whether to talk about it. That's true of parents and every other trusted adult in a kid's life. Kids want to know our expectations, and they want honest answers in everyday conversations. So talk with your kids and help lead them on a positive path, because when you talk, they hear you. Learn more at underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Head to the contest page at WIBC.com this week and register for your chance to win a $100 gift card to 459 Barber Lounge. More info at WIBC.com.
Good morning. It is 10 minutes in front of 11. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall has the day off today. Brad Kloppenstein is in the studio filling in. And also, Jason Hammer from the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel program. How are you feeling?
My butt is great. My butt is fantastic. No polyps. None.
Yay, good for you.
0.
Mm-hmm.
Like, as a matter of fact, the doctor said my butt is so clean, you could have dinner out of it, Casey. You could literally eat a steak out of my anus. It would be cleaner than a plate in your kitchen right now. That's how healthy my backside is.
So disgusting. So I was going to text you last night and see how you were doing, but I thought you might be napping. So tell me about just a little bit about your butt stuff experience.
So this was my first time, right? I was a virgin colonoscopy patient. And the way they do it was they gave me a little of that propofol stuff. They turn you on your side. They give you a little propofol. And then I wake up and I'm done.
Right.
I get why Michael Jackson was addicted to that stuff, man. I get it because... Yeah. It sure is swell.
Yeah, it just put you right out, didn't it?
It does. I remember being on my side, and I'm looking, at like the camera thing, and I'm thinking, okay, I wonder when this is going to kick in. I wonder when this is... Boom.
And you were out.
Yeah, and I woke up, and, it was a little groggy, a little delirious. That's where the picture was taken.
Yeah, I could tell you were a little out of it.
We sent out to everybody.
So you have new ideas for Saturday night playtime in the Hammer household?
Like, I'm telling you, I need to become friends with Conrad Murray because he's got the hookups now. Doesn't sound like he knows the dosages all that well. But, no, it was quick, in and out. And I didn't get as tired as everybody said I would afterwards. I was up for the rest of the night.
Yeah. So do you understand now why everybody says it's the prep that's the hard part? The actual colonoscopy is nothing, but it's the day before.
Yeah, and the thing is, it's not necessarily even going number 2 that much, it's drinking all of that Gatorade with the mixture.
The sludge. It's so gross.
Now listen, I like a good beverage. I could play Century Club like a champ. I could still, I drank Kevin under the table at a night with WIBC. But when you're telling me I've got to drink 64 ounces of Gatorade mixed with crapper stuff, and it's got to be 8 ounces every 15 minutes, you got to space it out. At first you're like, all right, let's go. Here we go. Toward the end, you're like, if I have to drink another thing of Gatorade...
Can you spike it a little bit?
Unfortunately not, because... And
did you get through all of it?
Yeah.
Because I did not.
Really?
On the last serving, I didn't get through all of it.
No, I got through all of it, and I didn't break the seal, so to speak, until about 2 or 3 things left.
Yeah.
So I was thinking to myself... Man, this isn't working.
It's not taking.
Something's wrong with me. It's not taking. Did I not mix it up right and everything? And
then the floodgates open.
Right. It's like when you first take that pee on a road trip, you might make it 2 to 3 hours in. You can leave from Indianapolis and you can make it to Tennessee without having to stop.
But once you stop in Tennessee...
It is on like Donkey Kong.
You're in Tennessee, a few times in Alabama, and then a few times again in Florida on your way down.
Woke up a couple times during my sleep. 5 o'clock a.m., I think, was the last round of waterfalls, so to speak. And but after that, went to the doctor. Boom goes to dynamite. Healthy, clean butt.
That's a good feeling, isn't it?
It is. And joking aside, I'm glad that I did it because I've got a good friend of mine used to work here. We all know Joe Stasiak, right? He was friends with John Andretti, longtime race car driver. Passed away from colon cancer. And they started this big push, check it for Andretti.
Yeah.
So I thought, you know what? The least I can do is try to take care of my family so they don't have to take care of my infected anus, in case there's something wrong.
Did you get a certificate that you could frame and put on the wall of your office?
I wish. I want a picture. Like, I wanted to have the photo up there.
This butt has been marked safe.
I want you to change your profile picture, please.
So did you have a big meal afterwards? Weren't you starving?
Oh, so hungry.
Yeah.
We just got a little Applebee's carry out and then took that home. And then
You're fancy like. Yeah.
Took care of Cheryl, Rob's bartender. And then I passed out candy like last night, which surprisingly, we had a large amount of trick-or-treaters last night.
Did you? I had 0.
We had about 50.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So you're thinking the weigh-in on Friday.
So here's where we're at. And because of the amount of items that have been removed from my body the last couple days, the amount of the volume, I'm way down in weight.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about burning a timeout this week, not because I'm overweight, but because I'm down so much.
It'll
and this
make the
isn't
following
normal.
week too hard.
Right. This isn't a normal week of weight loss. And I want to do this the right way. So I'm thinking about burning a timeout this Friday, and then the next time I come back, which would be 2 weeks because I'm off next Friday, getting back to where we should be as we chug head on into Thanksgiving.
I don't know. You said that's not a normal weight loss plan. I wish you could have told my old college roommate that.
Oh, is she a puker?
Oh, yeah.
I bet she looks so great, though.
The bathroom was disgusting
Like,
sharing with her.
Those supermodels, they throw up all the time, but my God, do their bodies look great.
Hey, what do you have coming up this afternoon?
Thank you, Brad. I was waiting for somebody to react to that. Kevin, Brad, somebody. We've got Tony Kennett joining us and biggest stories of the day.
Thank you. It's Kendall and Casey show on 93 WIBC.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textplan.us. Texting enrolls for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
Binges, blackouts, regret, shame, trying and failing to drink less or quit. Hi, I'm Jonathan, founder of Or Health. I know how scary drinking too much can be because I struggled with alcohol misuse for most of my adult life. But I also know that it is possible to drink less or quit. And medication can help. Naltrexone is a safe, effective medication that makes it easier to cut back or quit drinking, so you don't have to rely on willpower alone. I started Or Health to make access to naltrexone convenient and private, to help people like me regain control over alcohol.
If you're ready to stop drinking or just drink less, text REGAIN to 323232 to get a secure link to Or Health's private online assessment. Our licensed medical professionals will evaluate your assessment, and if medication is right for you, prescribe it online. We'll deliver your prescription right to your door. No doctor's office visits required. Text the word REGAIN to 323232 to get started today. That's REGAIN to 323232.
Are you the parent of a 2 to 7-year-old? Listen closely for an exciting free radio offer. By now, you've probably heard of ABC Mouse, the Parents' Choice Award-winning online learning program that's actually changing the lives of early learners everywhere.
ABC Mouse is like a little one-on-one teacher. It has helped her so much.
Right now, we're offering a special radio promo to try it free for a month. But you have to go to abcmouse.com/radio to claim your free month. That's abcmouse.com/radio.
Sponsored by Age of Learning. Every dollar matters when it comes to Medicare coverage. When you enroll with MDY's Medicare, our low-cost plans give you access to over 27,000 in-network providers. $0 primary care copay with no deductibles, plus a generous OTC allowance. Call 833-248-3906 or go to mdwise.org/MDY's Medicare. Enroll by December 7th. MDY's Medicare is an HMO/HMO POS with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in MDY's Medicare depends on contract renewal.
Jesse Kelly here. Do you feel protected? My personal protection plan is owning gold. The Oxford Gold Group helps you buy gold to have on hand or convert it into your 401k. If things get weird, I have gold on hand. I like that. You can buy coins or convert part of your 401k with the Oxford Gold Group. It's easy and safe. 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD. 833-995-GOLD.
Coming up in 2 minutes, the timeline for a warm-up from the experts. And
Ryan Hedrick reports on what was found in a child's Halloween bag of candy. And a big convention is back in Indianapolis. You'll certainly be seeing a lot of it. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
He'll defend himself and his father. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Donald Trump Jr. will testify at a New York civil trial today.
Ahead of his brother Eric's testimony, which is scheduled for tomorrow, both of the older Trump sons are co-defendants in this case alongside their father, former President Donald Trump. All three deny any wrongdoing.
Fox's Nate Foy outside the court where Judge Engoron has already ruled the Trump organization committed fraud. The former president posted this morning
on Truth Social, quote, "I'm being railroaded at a level never seen before." Trump also writing, quote, "Leave my children alone, Engoron. You are a disgrace to the legal profession."
In Colorado, it's day 3 for a hearing attempting to block former President Trump from being on the 2024 election ballot in that state. He's also filed suit in Michigan trying to prevent a similar attempt there. A Cornell University student will be arraigned today in New York, charged with making death threats to Jews amid pro-Palestinian protests on college campuses.
21-year-old Patrick Dye. Now, he was taken into custody just days after several disturbing anti-Semitic messages were posted in an online discussion forum with language that called for the killing of Jewish students.
That's Fox's Brooks Singman. Israel's casualties are mounting as they battle Hamas on the ground. Then in tunnels in Gaza, 15 soldiers have been killed.
Yesterday, the Jabalia refugee camp was the focus of the operations. The Israelis say they killed a top Hamas commander, but the Israelis are getting a lot of questions today about the number of civilian casualties associated with those strikes, and we do expect that number to rise as well.
Fox's Trey Yingst near the border with Gaza, where some wounded Palestinians and hundreds of foreign nationals are being allowed to leave, go to Egypt, but not Americans. House Republicans will be working in committee today on their bill to provide military aid only to Israel. Nothing more for Ukraine like President Biden wants. GOP Senator Josh Hawley tells Fox we've given Ukraine billions already.
We need an accounting of every dime that has been spent in Ukraine. The administration tells us they now have significant corruption concerns. Well, let's see where our money's being spent.
America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Don't worry, it'll get warmer. The sun's starting to come out. It's 36 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. You can expect cooler temperatures across central Indiana today.
Temperatures in the 40s for most of central Indiana, and then they'll warm up a little bit by the time we get into Thursday and Friday. The temperatures climbing back up into the 50s and close to 60 by this weekend.
Randy Bowers with the National Weather Service says our next chance of rain happens on Sunday. Fire engulfed the press box of the football stadium at Frankfort High School last night. Firefighters got to the stadium to find the press box with flames and smoke shooting out of it. They got the fire put out rather quickly. No one was in the press box at the time of the fire. They aren't sure how it started yet. One Hoosier parent found meth at the bottom of their child's candy bag last night. Ryan Hedrick reports.
It happened in Middletown, says Police Chief Landon Dean.
It was just a pill, and it looked like it had been partially crushed and maybe wet. So it caught the parent's attention, and she brought it to the police station.
Dean says tracking down where the meth came from will be difficult, but he says this was an isolated incident and that the child was not harmed. Ryan Hedrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
There's a new baby animal at the Indianapolis Zoo. A baby macaque was born in mid-October. They haven't named the newborn yet, and they have yet to announce plans on when he'll be displayed, and that'll be happening in a few weeks, but still has to spend some private time with his mother. Blue jackets and a love for farming and agriculture. Those are two things that you'll be seeing a lot of in Indianapolis this week. John Herrick reports.
The National FFA Convention and Expo runs from Wednesday through Saturday. As for what these attendees are looking forward to the most.
And it's just really cool because they're like showing you things that you didn't know existed.
The free stuff.
For everyone being able to see national officers, seeing what kind of opportunities FFA has.
And they'll be learning a lot about the science and business of agriculture at Lucas Oil Stadium and the Indiana Convention Center. John Herrick, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
I'm Kurt Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
So our government has racked up more than $33 trillion in debt. And you know what they're going to do next? They're going to turn right around and make you pay for it by raising your taxes. Hey, it's Hammer Nigel. Learn how you could reduce your taxes in retirement with a free customized retirement tax savings analysis. It's from Bill Demery, your retirement guy in Indy. We trust Bill so much, we become clients.
So if you've saved at least $200,000, schedule your free analysis right now by calling 317-648-5120. Learn how you could reduce the taxes on your IRA and 401k, Social Security benefits, and other investment income in retirement. Don't let the government get your money. Schedule your free analysis right now by calling 317-648-5120. 648-5120.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
It's an action-packed show today, Casey. Let's go!
And Casey Daniels.
The gang is all back together.
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Wednesday, November 1st. It's 5 minutes after 11. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall has the day off today, but Brad Kloppenstein is filling in. Thank you so much for doing it. Hey, I meant to ask you, this is your opportunity to promote your podcast that you do with Jim Merritt.
Yes. So Jim Merritt, who's a normal Thursday guest with you and Rob, he and I do a bi-weekly podcast called Merritt in the Morning. We typically record that at Cafe Audrey's at Fort Harrison at 9 a.m. on Thursdays. So Jim actually comes here, records real quick with you guys, and then leaves. Sprints to Lawrence to join me. And last week we had Jefferson Shreve on, so that podcast is posted on our Facebook page, Merritt in the Morning. And then tomorrow we're going to be talking to Dave Colt, co-owner of Sun King Brewery, talking about beer.
Okay. Well, that's quite a change. You go from a potential mayor of Indianapolis to
Casey, we
a
have
brewer.
Very diverse interests on that show. We can morph from politics to beer. These are just all things that make us happy.
And where would someone find said podcast?
Merritt in the Morning on Facebook is where it's housed, or on YouTube.
Okay.
So, Merritt in the Morning. Very simple.
You guys are doing it all. Well, let's talk about Jefferson Shreve just for a second. First, I want to get to this story. It was in the Indy Star. Indianapolis plans to hire consultant to investigate, and they say, skyrocketing use of deadly force. Everybody loves a consultant, don't they?
They do. That if I learned anything from the movie Office Space, that means that they're bringing those people in to fire others based on their recommendations. So, I mean, I could save them a lot of money. They can give me $100, and I'll walk over there and say, you know what the problem is?
Yeah, what is the problem? Tell us.
A bunch of people aiming weapons at police officers.
Yeah.
That typically when you do that, you get shot.
Okay. So Chief Taylor, he told the Indy Star that the goal is to comb through each case to find trends, and they're going to determine whether changes need to be made in the department, such as police training, more police training, further education among the public, and also promoting more basic firearm safety courses.
Further education amongst the public, I think, would be the key.
That to me would sound like maybe in the form of PSAs or something.
PSAs
broadcast.
Here's what happens. If you are armed and you start waving a weapon around and aiming it at a police officer, things are not going to go well for you. They were going to try to not kill you and just maim you. However, they might be slightly off.
Working with consultants, it's always kind of one of those backhanded things where it's like, here's where you're terrible. Here's what you need to improve. But you did this little part good. So
have you had good or bad experiences with consultants?
Both.
Yes. Have you hired them? Have you been the one hiring consultants?
I've never hired one. I've had them hired on
imposed upon you. You've been a victim of a consultant.
You know what? The first consultant I ever worked with taught me a lot. But then it kind of went downhill from that. I think maybe.
Well, I think it helps if your consultant is an expert in your industry. That is great. Sometimes consultants are just people like you and I. I mean, it'd be like us going into an accounting office saying, here's what you need to change.
It should balance at the end of the day.
Right, exactly.
Great. Like we didn't know that. Yeah, well, it'll be interesting to see what these consultants tell the Indianapolis police. But it's also not stated how much they're budgeting for this either.
I'm sure it's not cheap.
No, I'm sure it's
nothing
not
like that's
cheap.
cheap.
And where is this person coming from, or this consultancy company? And do they have a proven track record? So it's like you don't want to go listen to somebody who's no good.
Ideally, they would find another police agency that has a very low rate of police action shootings like this, and then have them come in and say, here's what we're doing to reduce this number.
This is what was successful for us.
Right.
Well, I mean, you'd be hard-pressed to find a major market city similar size to Indianapolis who, is not also going through
Do you ever watch the
trouble.
show On Patrol Live? On Reels?
No.
Are you familiar with it? You
I know
what
what you're talking about. Yeah.
So Friday night and Saturday night. And so they're in police agencies around the country. At one time, they're up in Lawrence here. But the one thing I've noticed is, you're right, other cities are facing the same things that we are. So it is a culture shift that permeates throughout the country. It's a lot of what we're seeing here is not just happening in Indianapolis, it's happening elsewhere around the country.
Okay, so Jefferson Shreve posted this last night. He said, when did violence like this become just a weekend in Indianapolis?
It's a weekend in our city. I wouldn't equate it to any other event or anything going on or any festivities. This is just a weekend in the city of Indianapolis. And this is not something we want our community to have to endure. This is not something we want our community or our officers or our detectives to have to continue to respond to.
Okay, so that was a police officer, and that was on a news channel. So Jefferson Shreve took that clip and put it up on his Twitter page. And he said that this happened under Joe Hogsett. Indy needs a new approach to curb crime and new leadership to get it done. Vote for change on November 7th. Now, you talked to Jefferson Shreve.
I did.
And thoughts, impressions?
I think he would certainly do a better job than the incumbent as far as tackling these issues. He's not afraid to get his hands dirty and get out there and maybe show up when bad things are happening. I will say it's interesting where we are. I mean, these street takeovers, we're not hearing about them nearly as often as they are happening. This party Saturday night, it used to be that the cops could get ahead of this because people would promote a party starting the middle of the week, and the police would at least know about it for a couple days and kind of cut it off. Now these party planners are promoting that there's going to be a party, but then they don't disclose where it is until time specific. In this case, 9 p.m. on Saturday night. So then everybody has to react, and they have to have kind of a private invitation. I mean, some of it is, I know what I was like growing up. Casey, you grew up in Michigan, I believe, and you were probably similar, that when you're underage, you typically find places to go, and there's parties, and sometimes they're contained and other times they're not. I don't know that it is totally dissimilar other than the sheer size of these gatherings. But the gunplay is certainly unique. But if I'm 20, 18, 16 years old, and maybe you don't think about this ahead of time, but if every single one of these ends up in gunfire, why do you go?
Yeah, I wouldn't want to go.
Yeah, I wouldn't either. I mean, if you know that there's 100% certainty that there's going to be gunfire, and even if 3 of the 200 people that are there shot, I don't like the odds of there being a 1.5% chance that I'm going to be shot tonight.
It is 13 minutes after 11. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. That's Brad Klopfenstein filling in for Rob today. You mentioned party and size, and when you think of a big party, something else comes to mind, and that is, of course, IMS. And did you see this article that they said that they are bringing in more than $1 billion? That's how much IMS affects the local and statewide economy.
Oh,
by
$1
billion.
Bet that's a conservative number.
You think so?
I think so. I mean, they have several of events a year there. And even if you look at the month of May, where you've got the Grand Prix, you've got practice every day, you've got the qualification weekend, you've got 300 to 350,000 people that are in town for the race, and those people are spending money. I know that the convention people have a factor number for every visitor. They expect that those people are going to spend $80 or $100 or whatever it is. But I would think $1 billion is conservative, because you look, most of the race teams are located here, and they employ anywhere from 30 to a couple hundred people. And then all the support organizations. You got Delara that is located here. Firestone has a presence here. When you start adding all that up, motorsports in central Indiana is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Well, clearly, they say more than half of this, $566 million, can be tied to events around Indianapolis and around the 500 and the 14 days of on-track activity before the race. And they say that includes the IMS operations for visitors, transportation, expenses within the state, food, hotel stays, merchandise, everything. It all adds up. And, of course, this after the Project 100, that $100 million facelift that the Roger Penske Group did to IMS. If that's true, well, that $100 million investment certainly paid off.
It has. So, and I believe that's still a TIF zone out there, which means all the sales tax that's collected within the speedway then gets to be retained for improvements in that area. I wonder how long it will be until they have lights at that facility and we see night racing out there.
Well, wouldn't that be fun?
That would be fun, especially for the NASCAR race, because that's typically in the heat of the summer, and heat has always been an issue with that race. If you could run that race at night when it was a little bit cooler, that would bring people back more than anything else.
So the president of IMS, Doug Bowles, said that the Speedway is not an Indianapolis asset. It's an Indiana one.
It is. It's been on our license plates in the past for the entire state of Indiana. You go out of town, and it doesn't matter if you're from South Bend or Evansville. If you tell people you're from Indiana, odds are the first thing somebody from New Mexico is going to say is, "Oh, the Indy 500."
Yeah, ever been in the 500? Sure. It is 16 minutes after 11. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
We feel.
Do you feel like we do? Feel it as soon as you step out the door.
What you feel.
Bundle up. Feels like winter.
It's going to be more like summertime.
Do you feel like we do?
All the feels.
It feels a little like winter.
Feels more like summer.
Of fall.
It's kind of the clash of two seasons.
Weather. When you need it.
The ebbs and flows this time of the year is so evident.
On your official fall weather station. 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel here. When it comes to health, there are numbers every man needs to know, including your testosterone number. We recommend Low T Center. They make it quick and easy to get your levels checked, and it's only $25. Walk in, take a simple blood test, and you'll know results in about 25 minutes.
Low T can make you feel tired and grumpy. It can cause lack of motivation and drive. It can raise cholesterol, cause weight gain, loss of muscle mass. LowTCenter.com. Book online right now. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Nobody cares for you like family. Family Heating and Air.
Hi, this is Malia with Family Heating and Air, and as a mom myself, I know it's really important to keep the kiddos healthy. Air quality, humidity, those are super big issues on my concern list. If you share any of these concerns, give Family a call, 317-577-8077.
Family Heating and Air is your trusted local independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer.
Simply Safe was named the best home security of 2023 by U.S. News and World Report. But we don't do what we do for the accolades. We do it to protect you and everything you love. Our advanced sensors and HD cameras are powered by 24/7 professional monitoring for fast emergency response. Visit simplysafe.com/radio to get 45% off any new system today. Advanced home security, 24/7 professional monitoring for less than $1 a day. There's no safe like Simply Safe.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Over? Did you say over? Nothing is over until we decide it is. Was it over when the Germans bombed Pearl Harbor? Hell no!
German? Forget it, he's rolling.
Good morning. It is 19 minutes after 11. It is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Brett Klopfenstein is in for Rob, who's got the day off today. Have you been following along this story about the ex-NHL player? He was playing for the Sheffield Steelers in England. Matt Petgrave and Adam Johnson.
A little bit. Refresh me on this.
Okay, so Adam Johnson, well, these are the hockey players where the one guy lifted his leg and Matt Petgrave cut Adam Johnson's neck.
Okay, yes.
And he ended up dying.
Yes.
And so there's been a lot of talk about this. It was described as a freak accident. But now they're saying, okay, he didn't wake up and think that I'm going to intentionally kill someone today. But it does raise a lot of questions. Like, are there criminal charges coming to this hockey player now?
I would have to think so. I mean, it sounds like manslaughter. You know, if you've ever been on skates, it's not incredibly easy, especially if you're in pads, to raise your skate up to the level where you're going to catch somebody in the throat. This reminds me of a lineman stomping on a quarterback after a sack or something. I mean, it sounds just, it's barbaric.
I guess this Petgrave's been known to be somewhat of a dirty player. He spent a lot of time in the penalty box and actually breaking all sorts of records for minutes in the penalty box. But is there now, could there be a civil suit brought against him?
I would think so. I mean,
or the team or the league? And what precedent does that set? Are we going to start charging people if that happens in other sports? Like, because people get hurt in the NFL all the time.
They do. I think some of it is it unusual, and was there gross negligence involved? And in this case, it sounds like, he was kind of a dirty guy. It's not beyond the realm of possibility to think that this guy is going to take it another step further. But yeah, I mean, a skate is a blade. You know it's a blade. And I think if you're a hockey player, you know that those are dangerous. And you could skate over somebody's hand and, I mean, cut off fingers or whatever. But yes, if you were lifting a leg to go after somebody, that, and at least in my mind, that has crossed a line.
I think it's interesting that what could happen, though, with other sports, you know, because there's players, you see the guys on the football field all the time, helmet to helmet.
Yeah,
and
that's now targeting and a penalty. It used to just be a play.
Okay, but what if that person suffers a real injury from that? Can they now press charges? Or do they have to sign a waiver or something like?
I don't know.
When they get drafted or they get
the demise
on the roster.
I thought the demise of the NFL 10 years ago was going to be all the head injuries and concussions. And
right.
I thought that, more and more parents would not allow their kids to play football. So you would just have fewer talented individuals coming through the pipeline to end up playing. But B, I thought that there would be enough lawsuits on this that it might be enough to shut them down. So they've apparently done something. And maybe you do have to sign a waiver that says football is a dangerous sport and, you know, we're not held liable if these things happen.
Or maybe they say that's why you make so much money, because you know it's inherently dangerous.
Right. And maybe the pension plan has been boosted a little bit to take care of those individuals that get hurt.
Okay, so in more sporting news, your school...
My Boilermakers, my beloved Purdue Boilermakers.
They're playing Michigan. It's a rematch of last year's big championship game coming up on Saturday.
Casey, I'm having trouble processing this.
A national audience on NBC again.
For 2 weeks in a row early this season, we got relegated to the Peacock. So you had to have a subscription and you had to stream it online to be able to see it. And I was somewhat outspoken saying, come on, man, you can't do this to us 2 weeks in a row. Give us, let us on regular TV. Well, now I'm getting my wishes back in spades. So not only are we going to be on regular TV, we are the Big Ten game of the week. And we're going to get crushed by Michigan this year because after last year's Big Ten championship game, Michigan, if anything, has gotten a little bit better, and Purdue has taken a colossal step backwards in a rebuilding year. I do not want to see my favorite team get pummeled in front of a national audience. I mean, couldn't they relegate us to the Big Ten Network or maybe Fox Sports 1? There's got to be other places to put us where it's easy to view, but you're not going to be in front of 8 million eyes.
You just don't want to see them lose that much.
No, I don't. I mean, I love them so much, and I know what the outcome is going to be. I just don't want a lot of other people to see it unnecessarily.
So the college football rankings came out last night, and Michigan sits at number 3. Ohio State's number 1, followed by Georgia. Only one SEC school in the rankings.
Yeah.
That surprised me.
Well, the SEC is a juggernaut, and as far as football goes, the SEC the last 2, 3, 4, 5 years has been probably a notch above everybody else. So I'm not entirely surprised. Although, as you look at the Big 12, parity sometimes means that you don't fare well because everybody's rolling through with a loss. So Alabama's got one loss. So Georgia, Georgia has a pretty good case of, listen, we haven't lost in 2 years. Why are we not even number 1?
So is the dynastic Alabama, is it over?
I think they're still good, but they're not quite the Alabama of old. So although they'll probably be in the SEC championship game again. So if they can knock off Georgia in that game, then they're back.
So they're ranked number 8 for this week. We'll see how they do. We were talking about Purdue, which reminded me I wanted to mention this Mitch Daniels thing. He had a sit down with PBS NewsHour, and when he was president of Purdue, he froze the tuition. He planned on doing it for 1 year, and it turned into a decade plus, and they're still doing that. And he said that he believes that Purdue can be the model to be exported to other schools as they face rising pressure to bring down their costs.
I have to believe it is. You're quite right. When I got there, and Purdue was in keeping with the rest of higher ed, they'd raised tuition 36 years in a row. And when I got there, when I said, why don't we take a 1-year pause just to show that we're sensitive to this, the most fascinating reaction came from a very talented woman who was the head of admissions, who said, oh, Mitch, if we do that, people will think we don't have confidence in our product, meaning that when everybody else is going up, and if we don't, people were associating
the cost with the quality.
The cost with the quality. And so I remember I said, that's not what they're saying. They're beginning to say, with good cause, why does it cost so much? And are we really getting value for that? I was wrong as to how long it took. It was several years, really, before I think the clamor got to the point where schools that had kept on going up began to really feel pressure. And today they really are. Yeah. And that people now are really questioning whether they need to go to a 4-year school at all. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So I was glad we acted, before we got near that reef.
I know that there are a lot of people who are glad that he reacted before.
I don't want to seem like I'm a Mitch Daniels fanboy, although I've got to say, imagine how different the world would be if he would have chosen to run for president. He has been highly successful at everything he's done. It's funny, when he first ran for governor back in 2004, I was somewhat critical of him. I've certainly had to walk that back, and I've met him a few times. I would call him certainly a pleasant acquaintance, if not a friend. But what he's done with Purdue has been fantastic. What he did with the state of Indiana. I mean, if you look at the difference between how he ran his administration and then Mike Pence, who followed him, very different, even though they were both Republicans. And, when he's talking about holding the line on education, he's right. There's no reason that higher education should be this expensive. And it's interesting to hear that his advisors were saying, oh, we have to do this because we have to show that we have a quality product, and people associate price with,
if we don't raise the tuition, then people are going to think it's a bad quality.
Yeah, no. And he's proven that is not the case at all. And I'm glad to see that he could be an innovator. And it sounds like other universities are now following that lead.
Yep. He said that what he did can be translatable to other universities, and they absolutely should look at that model. It is 11:28. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
When you hear the name Jefferson Shreve, what do you think of?
A candidate for mayor? Sure, he's that. But he's also an original supporter of Donald Trump. Jefferson Shreve has been with Trump from the very beginning, even despite Trump lying over 30,000 times, being accused of sexually assaulting 21 women. And Jefferson Shreve never condemned January 6th. Shreve even donated thousands of dollars to Trump's election deniers. It's bad enough that Jefferson Shreve got an A rating from the NRA and wants to ban abortion. But Jefferson Shreve and Donald Trump? That's a combination that's bad for Indianapolis.
This is Joe Hogshead, and I'm asking for your vote so we can continue hiring more police, get guns off the street, and invest in programs that keep kids out of trouble. We've overcome a lot in these last few years. I'm grateful for your support so we can get the job done.
Paid for by Hogshead for Indianapolis.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Taking the stand, I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Donald Trump Jr. expected to testify today in his father's civil fraud trial going on in Manhattan. Former President Trump is being sued, accused of inflating his assets in financial statements.
Both of the older Trump sons are co-defendants in this case alongside their father, former President Donald Trump. All three deny any wrongdoing. And this morning, former President Trump is criticizing the judge in this case.
Fox's Nate Foy. They're back, the blue corduroy jackets, as the National FFA Convention kicks off today in downtown Indy. Here's what some kids are looking forward to.
It's just really cool because they're like showing you things that you didn't know existed.
The free stuff.
For everyone being able to see national officers, seeing what kind of opportunities FFA has.
The convention runs through Saturday. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hey, it's Rob. I started losing hair around my crown and my hairline was starting to recede. I went to We Grow Hair Indy and they helped grow my hair back. My friend Dave First, a sports broadcaster for over 20 years, also struggled with hair loss. Dave, what happened?
My thinning hair was bothering me. For me, I'm in the public eye. I'm a dad also, and I want to look and feel my best. And if I'm going to do something about my hair, I want to go with the best. We Grow Hair Indy. They really set the standard.
Dave, that's amazing. I had the same procedure, multi-unit hair grafting transplants, which gives you more hair per procedure, saving you time and money. Call 317-522-2995 for your free hair and scalp evaluation. Find out if hair transplants or PRP is right for you.
If you're thinking about this, don't waste your time or money. Go to the experts.
Call 317-522-2995, 522-2995, or visit WeGrowHairIndy.com, the gold standard for hair restoration.
Your home is your sanctuary. Get the peace of mind you deserve with a free estimate on a Generac automatic standby generator for your home from Generator Supercenter, the nation's #1 Generac generator dealer. With expert installation and 24-hour monitoring, Generator Supercenter won't leave you in the dark. Financing is available. Take control of your power today with Generator Supercenter. Call 317-827-0808. Generator Supercenter of Indianapolis, 317-827-0808.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today.
Every year, millions of people find a health plan at healthcare.gov during open enrollment. They enjoy more doctor visits, pick up prescriptions, and find the care they need. With the new law, 4 out of 5 customers can find a plan for $10 a month or less with financial help. Enroll by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Healthcare.gov is here for millions like you, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Discover how to save more of your hard-earned money. Listen to WIBC this Saturday from 5 to 6 a.m. for secure retirement tips from Crown Haven Wealth Advisors. This Saturday, 5 to 6 a.m. on WIBC.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is 11:33. It's the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall has the day off today. Brad Kloppenstein is filling in. And how about this state law allowing counties to hire high school students as poll workers to fill in the gaps of the election staffs during election?
It's one of the few few things I could point to with the legislature and say, good job, guys, keep it up.
Yeah, so this is the Hoosier Hall Pass program, and it says that 16 and 17-year-old students can staff the polls, and they can miss a day of school for it for a, quote, live experience of democracy in action.
So now years...
This is something that Diego Morales' office did. Secretary of State's responsible for this.
Well, they implemented. I'm not sure he's responsible for it. You're giving an awful lot of credit over there, Casey. Come on now.
He did implement it.
I'm thinking that maybe one of the people who, a former county clerk or two who's in the legislature now might have done it.
Yeah.
But, so in 1999, I worked over in the election board office here in Marion County, just on the other side of Monument Circle from us. Mm-hmm. And even at the time, we had trouble getting election workers. You relied largely on retirees and occasionally stay-at-home moms, but that was an ever-dwindling pool of people, and we were always struggling to staff polling places. And that was one of the reasons that they consolidated precincts several years ago, was just because you could not get enough workers. And I think they've gotten to the point now where they've consolidated down about as far as they can. They still have a problem getting workers. So it is genius to encourage young people to come and work the polls for a day or two.
Get involved.
Yeah, get involved, because those are going to be the future leaders as well. They need to know how that process works. And I think the more people that you can have who sit in and watch how it works, the more integrity the process is going to have and the more faith the population is going to have in it.
Okay, so to participate, the students have to have written approval from their principal as well as guardian's approval, and they have to finish some mandatory training, and they also have to have a grade point average of at least 3.0 on a 4.0 scale.
That's so good. We got the smart ones out there working the polls.
Right. The responsible smart ones who are pulling in the good grades. And if they finish the training, they get $25, although this varies from county to county. But some poll workers can get paid $85.
Yes, if you're, I think, an inspector. Yes, different positions get paid different amounts because they have different sets of responsibility. So, or if you're the person who is tasked with making sure the ballots make it to the city-county building for counting, that person also makes a lot of money.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to try and get maybe the younger generation involved and have them see the political process.
Would you have done that if you were a high school student and this was offered to you?
Yeah, I probably would have.
Yeah.
And I probably would have encouraged my daughter to do that as well. She sat on the Mishawaka Mayor's Council when she was in high school. We encouraged her to do that. And not only, for the experience, but one of those things to put on a resume.
Right.
Other than just the retail stores, something else. And also just, to get involved and see what's going on.
There's certainly an apathy. There's always been, to some degree, an apathy amongst young people on getting involved in politics and paying attention to what's going on. I think this is good to kind of mute that to some degree. And the more people that you can get involved and say it's easy to get involved, the better. I say the more people involved in the process, the better.
Have you ever watched or listened to New Heights, which is the podcast from the Kelsey brothers, the football players?
I'm familiar with it, yes.
Okay. I wanted to take a quick listen, and here they are discussing Game Day Fit.
Eagles social team gave us a look at Jason's Game Day Fit.
Yeah, shocker. Jason's Game Day Fit is the same fit he wears every day. What the do I care about a game day fit?
This guy's game day ready, baby.
Some people go to play football, and some people play dress up, okay? I don't like to play dress up. I like to play football, all right? I'm not going to go shopping, color coordinating, getting belts and shoes and all this shit just to go play football. I don't get it for a second. What is the point? I don't get it. Okay, maybe you can explain it to me because you do it.
My game day fit is my regular day fit, too. So I know exactly what you're talking about.
Travis.
What?
You have not worn anything under $100 to a game.
Your flip-flops were more than $100.
Those
They got can openers on the bottom. Are you kidding me? It's 2-for-1 special.
Okay, so these brothers just, having a good time with one another. And I know a lot of people don't like Travis Kelce based on his politics. He's very pro-vaccine and the whole thing with Taylor Swift, how that's ruining football. It's not what I wanted to talk about. And I really don't even want to talk about their game day fit either. I mean, some of these football players, they walk into the stadium because it's all about the paparazzi and look at me and what I'm wearing and trying to promote some brand or whatever. The fascinating thing to me about this is that these athletes now are making their own content with these podcasts and, their TikToks and all of the social media. And it never used to be that way. I mean, if you think about it with sports, if you go back a little bit, you would see pictures in Sports Illustrated magazine.
Mm-hmm.
You would get that every week and be so excited that your favorite athlete was in that magazine. Or then when ESPN came along, you could, see an interview with your favorite athlete, or the athletes would then leverage the media, and they would, if they were good on camera or personable, they would, when they retired, become an analyst, right?
Right.
But now they're not even waiting until they retire, and they're putting all of this content out there, and we're seeing athletes leverage media like we've never seen before.
Pat McAfee, who was the Colts punter, retired from the Colts at the height of his career. I mean, He was the best punter in the NFL, but he also knew that he was going to end up in media, and he retired and started kind of his own podcast, and he went to Barstool, and now he's got a big place out in Lawrence, so his office is only a mile from my office. I see it fairly often. But yeah, he just signed a $70 million contract with ESPN, so he saved his body. He knew that he was talented. He was already creating his own content, so why not?
I just think it's fascinating. The one thing that I would warn, not that they're going to listen to me, but like these guys, you could hear their language, and it was filled with F-bombs. And
yes.
I guess Travis Kelce, he's got all the Pfizer endorsements, so he's got all that money. He's not really concerned about it, but
so he's dropping pH bombs.
Yeah, I guess. I don't know. I just wish that they would remain just a little bit more family friendly if they're going to put it out there. Like, because there are still young people who look up to these athletes, and if they're putting the content out there on social media where anybody can find it, at least do the right thing, man.
Casey, let me tell you.
Am I old-fashioned because of that?
I will tell you, the hardest thing about me sitting in this chair whenever I'm
is
in
not
here...
dropping F-bombs?
Is not dropping F-bombs.
Well, thanks for keeping it PG, Brad.
Kevin's not even on the ready. I mean,
yeah. Okay, let's talk about Mike Pence. I know you had some experience running against him.
Yeah. So for our listeners who don't know, in addition to running the Greater Lawrence Chamber, I also ran with Rupert Boneham. Rupert ran for governor in 2012, and I was his lieutenant governor nominee. So our team ran against the Pence-Ellspermann team in 2012. And Mike Pence fared better. Although funny, I'm sitting in his old chair right now.
Right. Okay, so he exits the presidential race, and some people are saying that is the end of true conservatism. A little ironic, don't you think, that he ended his political career in Las Vegas?
Crapped out. Ran out of money. That's exactly what happened.
An iconic place for a very pious politician to end his career.
There's been a lot of people whose hopes and dreams have come to an abrupt end in Vegas. So it happens. And some of it is just, I'm not going to say the world has passed him by. However, it was somewhat unrealistic what he was proposing and who he was. I mean, I give him credit. He obviously is a very principled man, and he has his beliefs. But sometimes those beliefs would start to intrude on what is good government and good public policy. I mentioned earlier that Mitch Daniels and Mike Pence were two very different men in how they governed. And some of that was because Mitch Daniels left the social issues on the sidelines. He said, once we have fixed all of our budget issues and all our financial issues, then maybe, just maybe, we can talk about social issues, but not until then. Whereas Mike Pence wanted to lead with them. And those don't always fit with everybody else.
It is 11:43. You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. And did you know the Social Security Trust Fund is now scheduled to run out of money in just 10 years? And this news could dramatically change how and when you file for your benefits. It's Casey, and you can learn how to wring every nickel out of your benefits with a free Social Security analysis from Bill Demery. He's your retirement guy right here in Indy. This free analysis pinpoints exactly how you could get the most income from your Social Security while still considering your taxes, IRA, and 401k withdrawals and spousal benefits. If you've saved more than $200,000 and have not filed for Social Security, schedule your free analysis by calling 317-932-9912. Save yourself a ton of time. Avoid making a big old mistake. 317-932-9912. That number once again, 317-932-9912.
Coming up on Tony Katz today, exactly how bad is this real estate market? And Donald Trump Jr. is coming to Indianapolis to campaign for Jim Banks and his dad. That's after the news at noon on 93 WIBC. Where do you feel the pain, guys? Look, sometimes you're getting older, you feel it in the knees or the hips, the shoulder, the back, but you don't have to let it sideline you. And if it is, talk to the professionals at QC Kinetics. Tony Katz here, and QC Kinetics is the nation's leader in regenerative medicine, restoring and repairing damaged joint tissue. Surgery is not your only option. Take a breath, take a beat, and talk to QC Kinetics first. With demand so strong, QC Kinetics has added Saturday appointments right here in the Indianapolis area. Do you have arthritic pain or pain from an injury? Call QC Kinetics. Don't just live with it. That's crazy. No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. Call QC Kinetics for a free consultation. QC Kinetics. It's in Eagle Creek, in Greenwood, and now in Carmel, with those Saturday hours at all 3 locations. Call 317-559-PAIN. 317-559-PAIN. QC Kinetics. Eagle Creek, Greenwood, and now in Carmel. 317-559-PAIN.
Looking for a beautiful and functional upgrade to your home this holiday? 3 Day Blinds has you covered. But hurry, most blinds and shades ordered by November 8th can be installed by Thanksgiving. At 3 Day Blinds, our free in-home design consultation makes it easy. A 3 Day Blinds design expert will help you find the window treatment solution that works best for your home's needs and style. We bring the showroom to you with loads of samples, giving you an idea of how different fabrics look in your home. Your designer also provides expert measurements and helps coordinate installation. Book your free in-home consultation by visiting 3dayblinds.com. You'll even find window treatments with Motorized by 3 Day Blinds. Whether you're at home or on vacation, you can operate your window treatments with the touch of a button using the 3 Day Blinds app. 3 Day Blinds is here to solve your window treatment needs for the holidays. But hurry, most blinds and shades ordered by November 8th can be installed by Thanksgiving. For your free custom same-day quote, schedule your free in-home design consultation now at 3dayblinds.com. That's 3dayblinds.com.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
For the ones who get it done, the most important part is the one you need now. And the best partner is the one who can deliver. That's why millions of maintenance and repair pros trust Grainger. Because we have professional-grade supplies for every industry, even hard-to-find products. And we have same-day pickup and next-day delivery on most orders. But most importantly, we have an unwavering commitment to help keep you up and running. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hi, this is Beth Robazzini. Nominate a veteran for a free water heater and you may win one too. Just go to VeteransDayGiveaway.com. Sponsored by B&W Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electrical.
Hey, we're pretty social people at WIBC. You can find us all over social media. See what we're up to on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and on YouTube. We're never more than just away. Just search for 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is 11:48. It is the Kendall and Casey show on 93 WIBC. Rob Kendall took the day off, and Brad Klappenstein came in the studio to hang out with us. Thank you for doing that today, Brad.
Thank you, Casey. I've enjoyed it.
Okay, so this is kind of right up your alley, but kind of not. It is an alcohol-free bar and store, and this is becoming a thing, right?
I'm confused by this concept, Casey.
I know. Well, I know you're the beer guy.
Yes.
But this is a beerless bar.
Why?
Yeah, it's part of the sober cocktail movement, right?
Yeah, it is. So when we were talking about this yesterday, talking about this show, I don't know whether to think of this as a modern day soda fountain or if this is just a new version of an under 21 club. I'm sure that they want people who are over 21, but if you're wanting that environment, you could just go to Applebee's or stay home. Or I'm fascinated. I want to go just to look and see what is the crowd like. I think they're going to have a hard time making money with this venture.
Okay, so this is a part of the sober curious movement. Okay. And they've got a lounge. It's a spirits-free lounge is what this is. And now there's no alcohol in any of the drinks. Is that correct?
That is correct.
But they say that they're going to serve craft cocktails, beer, wine, espresso drinks, and cold brew. But I'm taking it's non-alcoholic beer.
It is. They'll still charge you.
I've never heard of non-alcoholic wine. What is that, like a spritzer or something?
It's juice.
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, they'll still charge you $10.
That's called grape juice.
That is called Welch's.
You can just buy that off the rack there in Meijer and call it a day.
So anytime they say craft cocktail, there is no difference between a craft cocktail and a cocktail other than the price.
So they say that there's this place in Fishers that is opening, and it's called Memento Zero Proof, and it's at the First Internet Bank of Indiana. And they say that they're going to have like 10 different craft cocktails, and it's a 1,500 square foot place. So they've got the space, right?
Right.
And the idea is that it's bar-esque without the alcohol.
Yeah, and my understanding is it's supposed to have later hours, so it will be it will serve the purpose of a bar as far as a late night place after Starbucks or someplace closes. So you can go and you can have fancy foo-foo drinks, probably served with flowers and umbrellas. I'm just curious. I mean, for better or for worse, a traditional bar, you have one drink and you're like, ooh, I feel kind of good. I'm going to have another drink because I'm going to feel even better. And one begets another, and next thing you know, you've had 5, whereas a non-alcoholic bar, I think you're going to have 1, maybe 2, and say, oh, that was fun. And then you go on about your business.
Okay, so that they're saying that this was a Kickstarter campaign that launched this project, and they did it for $220,000. But they say, I guess the big deal is that people are a little more health conscious about this. This is a major factor. And the Food Institute said that the demand for non-alcoholic beverages grew 60% in the past 3 years.
It did. In industry publications I read, it is a topic of conversation. Non-alcoholic beer sales are going up and others. I just don't know what the cap is on that market. I just don't ever see that being a big thing on its own. So
I guess this comes down to the Gen Z and the millennials. They're saying that they're much more deliberate drinkers, whereas you might have a casual beer at the end of the day. For the younger generation, it's much more deliberate. It's not just a casual at the end of the day. Like there has to be a reason why, a celebratory or a purpose to have alcohol.
Casey, let me tell you, if this becomes a thing, it is true. Yeah. Millennials and Gen Z have ruined the world.
I guess this younger generation, they consider drinking to be more about socializing. It has to have a purpose. You're not just going to do it just because.
Well, maybe, I guess.
You don't understand this at all, do you?
I can't grasp this concept, Casey.
I can't get my brain around it. Okay, let's talk about daylight saving time. It ends on Saturday night. We're falling back, right?
We are falling back.
Falling back.
So they say you get an extra hour to sleep, which is ironic because on Saturday night and a Sunday, I already sleep 10 hours that night. So,
so 2 a.m. while you're supposed to be asleep already, you're going to gain an extra hour.
Now, bars get to stay open an extra hour when we fall back.
Of course they do. Will the alcohol-free bar stay open an extra hour?
They could, I guess. I mean, that's called IHOP.
Mm-hmm.
But,
So what do you think? Are you a fan of daylight saving time?
I'm
This
not.
battle
I wrestle
rages
with
on.
this. I don't like changing our clocks because basically it's just we all have agreed that we're going to get up an hour earlier in the spring and we're going to sleep in an extra hour in the fall.
Mm-hmm.
All that you accomplish with daylight saving time, you could accomplish just by saying we're going to go into work an hour earlier
Mm-hmm.
in the summertime. So I don't like the exercise of changing your clock. Indiana traditionally had been on Central Time in the past. If as the world lines up, we should be on Central Time. If we stay on one time, I don't know if we should be on Eastern Time and then be on Eastern Daylight Time, if we should be on Central Daylight Time. There's a lot of questions. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts are that if we could change, I would change to Central Time. It's just better TV viewing. It's better for your sports. And so when I was in South Bend, St. Joe County, when Mitch Daniels decided that the whole state was going to go on daylight saving time, there was that, 10 months to a year between when he said we're going to do it and when it officially started. And there was a big debate in northern Indiana between St. Joe County and Elkhart County because St. Joe County wanted to be on Central Time. And the Department of Transportation said, okay, but because, there's this economic impact tied in with Elkhart County, you got to do it.
In Michigan.
Well, Elkhart has to say they're going to do it too. Elkhart said no. And so St. Joe County ended up being on Eastern Time, and I would have preferred Central Time. Okay, we got to get to this. Thank you for coming in today. I wanted to leave on a note of some humor. Don't know if you saw Saturday Night Live, but this skit is still getting traction. People saying it's going to go down as one of the best ones yet.
How many liters are in a gallon, sir?
Nobody knows.
And, sir, in this new country, what plans are there for men of color, such as I?
Distance will be measured in inches, feet, yard, and miles. So 12 inches to a foot?
12 feet to a yard.
If it were only so simple. 3 feet to a yard.
And how many yards to a mile?
Nobody knows.
Okay, well, how many feet to a mile?
5,280, of course. It's a simple number that everyone will remember.
I must confess, it feels a little complicated, sir. Why not use meters and kilometers?
We will, soldier. But only in certain unpopular sports like track and swimming. For popular sports like football, we will use yards.
Football, sir?
Yes. It's a sport where you throw a ball with your hands.
So in football, there is no kicking?
There's a little kicking. You kick the ball to get points.
How many points, sir?
Sometimes 1 and sometimes 3.
Very confused, sir.
Do not worry. For our new nation, we will have rulers with 2 sets of numbers. Inches on one side, centimeters on the other.
So we can see where they line up.
Yes, except that they don't line up and they never will. Liberty, son. Liberty.
Liberty. That is George Washington's dream for America. All right. Thank you, Brad, for coming in today.
Casey.
Thank you, Kevin. And thank you for joining us. It is the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Life is all about enjoying the little moments. Don't miss out on them because of unexpected heart issues. At Community Health Network, you receive heart care you can trust. From simple screenings to life-saving diagnostic and interventional cardiology services, we offer it all, so you can get back to the moments that matter. Learn more about our services at ecommunity.com/heart. Community Health Network. Exceptional care simply delivered.
Jesse Kelly here. Do you feel protected? My personal protection plan is owning gold. The Oxford Gold Group helps you buy gold to have on hand or convert it into your 401k. If things get weird, I have gold on hand. I like that. You can buy coins or convert part of your 401k with the Oxford Gold Group. It's easy and safe. 833-995-GOLD. That's 833-995-GOLD. 833-995-GOLD.
I'm attorney Darryl Isaacs. Winning for my clients is so important to me because I know what they're going through. I was in a wreck myself back in 2015. I've been there, and I'll be there for you. Just click to get help quick at WeWin.com.
Go where the pros go. Drexel Interiors for Timberlake Kitchen and Bath Cabinets. Visit Drexel's new design center on 146th Street at River Road or on North Shadeland. DrexelIN.com.
On the level, on the go. 93 WIBC Indianapolis.
Coming up.
Finding a nice job, owning a ranch.
Temperatures climbing back up into the 50s and close to 60 by this weekend.
And it looked like it had been partially crushed.
If you are a professor that's spewing this hatred toward Jewish people, you should be fired.
This is the WIBC News at noon.
Influencing the influencers.
With highs in the mid-40s today. Tonight will be mostly clear, but cold. 34 on Monument Circle. More on your weather in a moment. I'm John Herrick.
And I'm Ryan Hedrick. Here's what's trending at 12 noon.
Students and teachers and sponsors who love agriculture all in downtown Indianapolis this week for the FFA convention. Gets underway today, but not everyone is here for the same reasons. This man is here from Georgia, but he's trying to figure things out. What do you like about farming and agriculture?
I don't know.
One of his classmates says she already knows what she's looking for.
Finding a nice job, like working with horses, owning a ranch, like a bunch of stuff under agriculture.
About 70,000 people are expected to attend the convention, which has exhibits, speeches, and more scheduled through Saturday at Lucas Oil Stadium and the Indiana Convention Center. Tomorrow, you'll hear about how the convention affects Indiana's economy.
You can expect cooler temperatures across central Indiana today.
Temperatures in the 40s for most of central Indiana, and then they'll warm up a little bit by the time we get into Thursday and Friday. The temperatures climbing back up into the 50s and close to 60 by this weekend.
Randy Bowers of the National Weather Service says our next chance for rain happens on Sunday.
Who's Your Parent found drugs at the bottom of their child's candy bag on Tuesday night. It happened in Middletown, says Police Chief Landon Dean.
It was just a pill, and it looked like it had been partially crushed.